Les is coming on. If you, I guess you know that.
I saw that on Discord. Yep, that's great. Okay, let's open up stuff here.
Still hate the way that ends. Now I gotta figure out which one I'm gonna do here. Hold on. I wasn't prepared myself. Isn't that funny? That's the wrong one.
Uh-oh.
Ah, it's no big deal. Thought I had them in here. 8, 11. All my scenes were all swapped out. Must have only put that one in.
Hi, welcome to Gamescape 3D.
We'll run this one.
Today we're going to be going over our release of our gigantic clips.
Hey, Jeremy.
We have a lot to go over, so let's get to it.
Okay.
All right, before we jump in and see how this thing is standing
Everyone's
out,
doing
let's
well.
look at some of our smaller features. Get some of these figures out of the way. All right, you're going to have a folder in there called Magnet Face Cliffs. Those refer to a few specialty items that we have here. You can see this tree right here. It actually just pops right off. And after you pop it off, you can go ahead. I have a door piece you can swap in there. I also just have a plain cliff face you can swap right. You can, whoops.
Okay.
You can pop in there.
Death Ray, what's up?
Okay.
Hello.
So let's say you're on an adventure in.
Someone asked a good question
someone says a magic word, maybe that makes
in
a door appear.
What's up, Chad?
Chris,
I think you got your gift certificate. Hopefully, I sent it to you.
This one right next to it is another swappable one. We have
someone asked a question that was a really good question. What if you accidentally go live, which can happen sometime? Does that break? For like 30 seconds, does that break everyone's watch streaks? And I think the answer is you have to be on for 10 minutes before they activate. So
just that simple. Okay. And then our last one is down here. Shells right here. This whole thing comes off. Okay, and there's your magnet faces on the back. You're also going to have open locks everywhere you have magnets. Most of the time you're going to want to use magnets. We're using 3 by 8 millimeter magnets on this. I needed something with a little more punch than the 2 by 6s I usually use. So you can see the open locks being useful in some cases. Mostly I think you'll want to use them on side-to-side connections potentially because you will get into situations where the magnet polarity isn't set up correctly for what you want to do. And those open locks will override the magnets pushing away from each other. In terms of this base here, you can use any 1/4-inch material. I'm using hardboard here. You could use 1/4-inch cardboard, 1/4-inch foam core, some kind of plastic, plexiglass, anything you got available. You could even use 1/8-inch material and shim it up a little bit, or double it up, whatever.
What's up, Mike?
So
what's up,
there's
Kurt?
the hardboard I'm using. Okay, and these set right on top. I'll go ahead and move these out of the way so you can sort of see the front mechanism. Okay, so we got magnets all along here.
Mike,
and these are just the tops of the cliffs. Your board sets right in here. You do not need to cut precisely. We got a lot of overlap coverage there.
Always.
As you can see, in most cases, most spots, you're looking at up to 1 inch of coverage. So, you know, if you're within 1/2 inch, that's going to take care of it. And then we have magnets, and these things just pop right in there and hold things into place. These, this one here is an earlier one. You can see I went a little deeper. I decided to change that for the one I'm releasing you, so you don't have so much 3D print coverage going back. It doesn't really interfere if you're just doing a cliff face, but if you form these things into an entire butte, that extra rock really ended up taking up a lot of surface space. So I trimmed that back a little bit.
It's only 650.
So
We're good.
That's how those top plates hold into place.
It's only Wednesday too. Wow.
I'm not showing today that will be available in your kit. Each one of these cliffs will have a half
Wednesday,
version,
Thursday,
so it's
Saturday,
come out
Sunday
to about
this week.
135 millimeters on this upper print part. So you can print these tops. I do not have that available for the swappable faces, but everything else does have that available. I also have 2 turnout corners instead of turning in, and I also have a 3-part switchback trail that I will use as a painting demo.
It is, isn't it?
Of the month.
Time is flying by.
So that's something you got to look forward to.
Daniel, let me know if you got. I don't know if you got it yet, but it did go out.
Let's flip this thing around so we can get a quick look at the back side of it.
The summer. It's probably a 3D point.
Here we are on the back side of the cliffs.
But I got
you can see
everything out.
The cliffs themselves provide quite.
I'm caught up. Yeah, I'm good.
So
I'm good.
You know, if your platform's only going to be 7 or 8 inches, you probably don't need any additional support. The cliffs will take care of supporting whatever platform material you set up here.
Yeah.
But if you go back like maybe a foot.
Oh, that's right. You got a PO box, right?
You might want some extra back supports to keep this thing from tilting over. As previously mentioned, I have designed. Some simple mechanisms here so you can pop together. They'll provide you the support you need on the back end of your platforms. The last feature I want to go over
Tim may come on
are
just
slotted cliffs for allowing your characters to climb up them. You'll have 2 of these wider cliffs.
Oh, he's still by himself at home?
Yes.
Okay. These slots in there. And what we have here are slots every 25 millimeters.
Oh,
okay, and then on this side,
getting ready for another week.
Have slots of 50 millimeters, maybe for creatures who aren't.
And I'm playing a game. I don't have to DM on Saturday with Tim DMing, so that's even better.
While they're climbing or something like that.
That's always a good thing, man.
Yeah, once in a while I need
a. Slots
I get to show off the new
4.4 millimeters tall.
Butcher Con 5 T-shirt
for 32 millimeter bases to give
got
you
them in and
a little more room to work with. Most of your bases are going to be between 3 and 3.5 millimeters tall. So in most cases, that's going to work out just fine. If you need extra support in the folder where these slotted climbable cliffs are,
Dale and Jim Sakir, you guys must be really close to like right outside that first thing with 51 months, you know, with the
I have the one included
first 25 subs because it's like 51's a long time.
You
actually got a sword and shield now emote, which is cool.
Mini. This is a D&D mini, and
I think after
3.0 millimeter base.
It's after
you can see
6 years that I start doing the dragon heads like mine.
Oops, let me lift this up so we can see it a little better.
Yeah, you see, I have a dragon
It'll
head.
just slide right in there. You don't really need to worry about it popping out.
I got all different color dragons.
A little loose in places.
After that,
you can just take this.
It goes out to 10 years. I only think I filled through 8.5.
And shove it in there, and of course you can just thicken it up on your
I don't think I need to worry about that anytime soon. So.
Here's that little guy.
Let me see.
Because it says me, I'm 72. So.
Okay, so this will make it easy to allow your characters to climb and also to calculate fall damage. Whoops.
Holy jeez, that's 7 years.
Dead.
No, that's
fall
not 7.
damage, of course. Okay, I hope that overview was helpful.
I had 84.76, 6 on the nose.
Check
I got plenty of time.
We'll be going over new features.
I'll run 45.
That will be coming out.
Yeah. There's subscriber length badges, so like you got a sword. If you just click on it, and it'll show you the large version of it. You could also shout out those. You know how Patrick's been doing those real large shout outs with bitch. You can shout out any of the emotes or whatever, real large. I'm not sure you do the shield, the emote shields.
This modular set of cliffs.
It's a good question.
We're taking requests, and we'll see if we can get yours worked in if you have something. Okay. All right. We'll see you soon.
Back in 2001, when we first began working with Gary Gygax.
Yeah, man, tell me about it.
Wonderful series of books.
Yeah, I've been sick the last couple of days.
Oh no, you sound like it sounds like it's allergies. I hear it. Is it?
Oh no, it was stomach actually.
Oh gosh, dude.
The whole lot
of you're all right.
We could use
I'm doing better, I think.
Creating our adventures, writing stuff for publishable content, whatever it is.
I'm surviving.
And there was really no end to what he envisioned this series.
So I think we're going to do the Katana thing on Sunday just because Tim can come on definitely and he wants to be on for it. So I don't know, with Ron from Page coming on, that may be a good one where we can fill some time slots.
Yeah, definitely.
So we'll do it on Sunday.
That's what this Kickstarter is. We've got 7 books online ready to be printed. We've got another 3 right after that we want to get minimally out as we were working on them at the time.
Sorry there, Steven. I'm going to cut you short.
Definitely in PDF, depending on how well the Kickstarter does.
No, Dale, guess what I got? I was at Days and Nights in Delaware today.
Necessary stretch goals and all that mess. But welcome to the
and I got a Tomb of Abathor.
Please give us
perfect condition for $12.
Share around if you can. Pledge if you can.
They have all those Necromancer game things, and they put them under face value because I guess they don't sell them.
Very much appreciate it.
Yeah, so because mine was like destroyed, right? So
Trollord Games, join the fray.
So now I got new stuff I can buy. I just gotta see which ones of my necro stuff is all messed up. Oh yeah, that's what I said. And I was like, oh wow, $12 for this? Sure, that's under face value even what it cost back when it was new. So yeah. So anytime I'm down in Delaware, I try and stop in there when I'm doing calls down there. We're at University of Delaware campus. They have a sealed Free City Ground box set, but I think it was re-sealed. I think it was like 160 or 180. I'm like, I don't know that. I already got one. I'm just like, oh yeah, you have. Oh, okay, it's separate full set. That's cool. All right, tonight.
Dun, dun, dun.
Go to the light side for a change. Yeah, that was me, Daniel. I'm big, I live right, basically, in what we consider part of New Sweden in 1623. So, Swedesboro was right down the road from the next town down from East Greenwich, where I live. Yep. It's on my mat. It's on my. I'll have to show that sometime. I'll bring it up. It's my oldest thing I'll ever own. It's from 1680. Yeah, exactly. Oh wow, cool. Yeah, it wasn't many. It was like what 500 Swedes and 100 Finns. That was it.
Yeah, I think they only had a couple of ships that got there, not more than that. Then they got so tangled up with other stuff and
then the Dutch are like, nah.
Oh yeah, the Dutch came and
well,
the Swedes were so occupied with wars in Europe that they never made it any further.
From what I read on the stories, the Swedes attacked the Dutch and then they
lost.
Yeah,
because we were fighting in Europe, so it was a spillover from European wars, because Sweden was occupied in wars in it was a lot of the war. I think it was the 100-Year War, the 30-Year War between the Catholic and Protestants and stuff that spilled over. So Sweden was involved in all of those wars on the continent. It was the end of the Swedish imperial period when we were fighting wars everywhere. So that was the tail end of that, or like in the middle of it. Yeah.
Lion Dove, how old is this school? Well, this school is 44 years old for Greyhawk and 46 for D&D if you count the old Holmes Basic. Yeah, but like yeah. I like maps. I like cartography. So let's go live. Awesome. Good to see everyone. Well, look at that. See, you guys came on before I messed things around. I'm Jake Lurkazumba, and I got with me Anna B. Meyer and Oblivion Seeker Les Reno tonight.
Hey.
And maybe the ever mysterious Tim, but he's always mysterious, so we'll see. If he is able to, he may just hop on. But no. Tim does not know much. Is not a lore master of Greyhawk, but that's okay. So, Les's idea on this one.
Get away from. Shocking, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's a good one.
Yeah,
it's a good one.
Absolutely. It's like I can take a deep breath, because I remember this time last week I'm doing the prelude for the Hateful War things. I knew what was coming. I had the game Thursday and all, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, I'm happy because I'm not overstressed. Oh, so real quick, these are available on the website for the con. Here's Virtual Con 5's t-shirts, right?
Oh,
all right.
Nice.
They're here. All sizes are still available. I'll say this, and I'm saying this in a joking way. Oh, you fat guys, the 3Xs are going like crazy. So note that, all right? I'm just telling you now. That's what seems to be selling the most of, are the 3Xs.
Order more triple X's next year. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, because I have some left over, I also put on the site, and these were expensive, so they're a little bit more, like $10 more. Slav Squad shirts and 2 drink minimum shirts. Like this one I got on here, are on that site. All right, that counts shipping, everyone. Even if you live in Canada, I'm not going to hammer you for extra money. So, yeah, it's cool. But where should you start? That's a great question. We can answer that right. Where should you start? Registration's open. Yeah, that's why I linked it. Yeah, Daniel, it's open. It's going. We're going. Oh, Grognard, let me do that real quick. And in other words, so I have all the giveaways out from the entire Thursday and weekend, with the exception of 2 things, and that is because Chuck gave all 9 giveaways right on that last game Saturday night. All right, now you should be able to do it. He's like, oh shoot, we don't have an auto code generator for the $15 gift certificates I said you could have. Everything else is out, but Patrick and RoGR, which is Keith, hold on. Chuck needs to get me codes for the $15 gift certificates for Saturday night. Everyone else's is out. All right. Yep. And registration is open, Daniel, and we're taking events too. So yes, Carlos just put in a Friday night game. Yep. We got some games going in. Les has got his in. I got mine in. We got some good ones in there. So, yep. So that's what's going on before that. And where do you start in Greyhawk, Les? Let's hear that. Let's answer that question first. Where do you start?
Where do I start?
Well, yeah, like the question was, I've been playing RPGs since late 70s when I was a kid, but I've never played in a Greyhawk setting. Where should I start when picking up old books and whatnot?
Oh, what books to begin with? I would definitely do either the folio from 80 or the box set.
Yeah.
And just to get your toes in the water. And then from there, move on to the City of Greyhawk box set and the Greyhawk Adventures.
Yeah, that's what I would do. I mean, so with one exception, and that, all right, so you're not going to get this in original unless you go on eBay and spend an arm and a leg. But
get a PDF.
But if you win tonight, you can get one. And a reprint, right?
Yeah, or you can buy a reprint from.
Yeah, you can buy a reprint. So
yeah. And I would add to that the Living Greyhawk gazetteer, I would definitely put that one in there because that's
what I was going to say with one exception.
Yeah,
that's the one.
There you have the basics for the source books of or like the world books, so to speak, and they cover the same thing but in different iterations. The folio is oldest as missing a lot of stuff that would develop later, so to speak. So you can kind of add to it. There's like generations of world books. But if you want an adventure, I would recommend start with Hamlet and then move on to take the A1 to 4, the Temple of Elemental Evil, the
T1 to 4.
first adventure path ever written, because it's old, but it's a fantastic, cool little introduction to Greyhawk, and it's set in Greyhawk, so you get like the feel from it. And if you want to do it, then watch Joe Block's and go to his site because he has some extra. So there's like a follow-up or like a prequel to it.
T0
that you can run exactly. So you can. There's some other adventures and stuff too, and then you pick an area and then you start saying, oh, I like whatever area that suits your fancy. Google that area a little bit and come up with new cool little adventures if you want to run and come up with the old adventures and make that area your own, so to speak. And don't ignore all us saying that, oh, it should be this and that way. Make your own version of Greyhawk. That's the idea.
That's why I was suggesting to dip your toe in, just start with those early sources and then build up. And the more interest you get and the more you want to fill in stuff, you can go to the Living Greyhawk Gazetteer or Adventure Begins or one of those.
Plus,
I
have...
Go ahead,
Anna. Go.
I was going to say, if you only have to have one thing to read to begin with, get the 83 box set, read it, immerse yourself in it for a few months or a few weeks or whatever, and then you're ready to see what suits your fancy and then start embracing those parts, so to speak.
And the cool thing is, I believe it's the box set has that list of the adventure modules that were set in Greyhawk.
I think
so you can go
has
ahead.
Some,
So you can go ahead, the early adventure modules. So like the Slavers series and Stodgecanth and Barrier Peaks. You can go through there and, you can pick adventures that you think your players might be interested in and that you'd be interested in running.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is the cover for the box set. That's 83.
Yep.
Right, that's 83.
It's also available from DriveThruRPG as PDFs, I think, still.
And just note the following. Every topic you can think of in almost every adventure, we have covered on either a Legends and Lore or a Gabbin talk show.
Yeah.
There's there's almost 600 now.
Yeah.
600 talk shows. Just go on my YouTube and you'll be able to pull up like we have one on Hamlet, Temple of Elemental Evil.
Yeah.
So,
and we have on regions, we have on other features and stuff like that. So dig into it. Yeah. Especially the Legends and Lore. Gabbins are a little bit all over the place. We can talk about the gaming aspects and stuff. But the Legend and Lore shows are more focused on Greyhawk. Gabbin is a little bit here and there. Some of them are very Greyhawk focused. Exactly. Some of them are Jake's campaign. Some of them are more generic DM advice or something like that too. So yeah.
Yeah. So hopefully that answers your question there. So,
and please ask more questions.
Always.
Welcome to the Greyhawk community.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. Welcome.
We're going to rock and roll here. So, Les, give me your thoughts on this concept you brought up on the good guys and gals.
Yeah.
Okay, well, my thinking was, we quite often, when we're discussing Greyhawk, we tend to think of organizations like your Thieves Guild or your adventurers who are more mercenary in their motivations, right? There's a lot of emphasis on the gray in Greyhawk. And yet I had an interesting discussion when I was doing Wiley and Matthew's podcast, and we were discussing, we were discussing on Greycast, we were discussing, or Greytalk, we were discussing Robert E. Howard's influence on things. And I was like, it came up, some similarities in tone with the thieves and barbarians and, evil sorcerers and all this. And I was like, but here's the thing. You aren't going to find very many paladins in Robert E. Howard's world. You aren't going to find very many societies, chivalric orders dedicated to the good of the people. You aren't going to find very many organizations like that. It's pretty much a free-for-all, right?
Okay.
In that kind of fiction. And I was like, that's something, I wanted to, just for a moment, just for perhaps an episode, to give people something to think about, shift away from the the gray of Greyhawk, which Lord knows I'm guilty of emphasizing, right, with my campaigns.
No,
yeah, we all are.
But the thing is, I always, even in my campaign, I like to, darkness has value in relation to light, right?
Sure.
And one of the things I think just also is that people tend to emphasize the Greyhawk Wars and then what Sargent did as so much darker in tone. But I think Sargent himself mentioned that this provides opportunity for heroes.
Well, we need drama in our campaign, so we need the gloomy and the doom gloom and scary
a little
bit
too. A little.
I need a lot of it in my campaigns. So yeah.
Yeah, but it's also, like I said, it's sometimes too easy to lose sight of some of the other influences and some of the other tones that are possible within Greyhawk.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I like good, as you all know. The Order of Ulick is all right. In order to get in the Order of Ulick, what is the one prerequisite Anna question?
Well, you have to be good.
That's it. Good alignment. Class doesn't matter. Race doesn't matter. You have to be a good alignment.
So you allow thieves in the...
Sure.
Oh.
Bounty hunters, thieves. Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome.
Sure.
Yeah.
There's a lot of thieves.
Yeah.
Yep. Because remember, in old school, there's multi-class thieves. Fighter thieves, fighter mage thieves, cleric mage thieves.
Yep.
They're all over the place. Yep, absolutely. So, yep, hey, it's been 44 years, so that's what the whole campaign's based off of. So, Paul Anderson and Tails Charlene, there are other options for good. There are a lot of options for good, man, I think. I really, so I've always seen
the other thing is, too, I was just going to throw this out here.
Please.
If you may remember that there was that early, I think it was Dragon Magazine, might have been Strategic Review, article by Gary Gygax, where it's discussing the idea that good isn't stupid, right?
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah. That's
and there's also, I think, the important Yeah, exactly. Good doesn't mean stupid.
Yeah.
And beyond that, I think there's also the idea that it is tougher. I mean, the idea that there are so few examples of paladins. Here's the thing: being good can be hard, right? There's a reason why paladins were so few and far between in first edition, or at least statistically should have been, right?
Well, they had that pesky, what was it, 17 charisma requirement, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
And I kind of like the idea, if that makes sense, that you can have good people, but then you have exceptional good people, chosen by a deity or for a cause, and dedicated to that. And I think that's another fascinating idea, is the idea of dedication to a cause rather than to coin. So.
Yeah, and also have good. They tend to think of others, people and creatures' well-being, not only themselves.
Exactly.
And to be more altruistic than egotistical is hard, so to speak. So I have it in my Greyhawk world that evil and neutral are way more numerous because it's the wide path. You have much less moral constraints and you can kind of go any way you feel like it, so to speak. The goods are well more organized. They trust each other, but there are fewer of them because they are also more stingy, meaning if you don't live up, then then they don't trust you anymore, then you're kind of screwed out there, so to speak. So they're networks and they still rule because they are much more effective rulers because they cooperate much better, meaning he wants everything for himself. So people only cooperate with him if it gains, they gain from it at the moment, or they are threatened and bullied into cooperate. They're scared of him, so to speak. But the good ones, they rule by setting a good example and actually helping others long term.
Yeah.
But it's tough to be good, but it's usually pays off long term if you can survive long enough to set an example, so to speak.
I don't mind neutral characters at all. Once in a blue moon, for a specific reason, there'll be a character with some twinges of evil, but I prefer a good-based game.
Yeah, you can have, meaning the neutrals are the one that can go where the wind shifts, so to speak. That if they move to an area run by a good one, they will adhere to the rules for the most part. But if there's like evil invaders coming or something, they might, oh, I can go around rob some too and join them if they're good. So they are the ones that go with the flow more, so to speak, or opportunists one way or the other, so to speak.
Yeah. And getting on, and we don't need to go on this diatribe on 5e that took alignment out. Alignment's vital in my game.
Same.
Good to hear. I like to know where my players stand and where they should stand. So, and I always give the example of a chaotic good. I've said this like 5 times. This story. Chaotic good, elven character of one of my players in that forgotten the one that we had out of Vortex magazine, right? That's we put in the source. Yeah, the Forgotten Temple of Erythnol or whatever, Hidden Temple of Erythnol. And at the very bottom, there are all the kids of all the leaders, and the kids are in there, and they're playing Ring Around the Rosie, but they're singing "Your character's going to die," all that. And he gets all pissed off, and goes in and just slaughters them all. This is good line character. I'm like, dude, that's a huge evil slip. He's like, no, it's not. They're going to grow up to be evil. I'm like, dude, that's beyond.
But there you point to one of the tricky difficult parts in role-playing games, because I think it's the prerogative of the GM to set the tone of the campaign, the general tone, and because alignment can be used in different ways. Meaning, for some play styles, it's very heavy mechanistic side to it, and in others it's more like, well, you need to behave a certain way, then you're good, otherwise you shoved over to the evil side and stuff. So I think you can use alignment in different ways, but you need to, the session 0 and some notes need to tell the players how you adjudicate alignment in your games.
Right, that's an important thing.
Exactly. As a player, you need to understand how you want to use it and run it in your campaign, so to speak. But I think it can be used in many different ways. Meaning, old school with its more mechanistic, I run it more like taint, so to speak. Once you start dabbling with demons or whatever, you get like an evil tint that can be sensed by others, so to speak, and so on. Otherwise, you're kind of free to go a little bit. But once you start doing a lot of things that are evil and so on, then eventually you will smell funny, so to speak, to some people.
Everyone, by the way, real quick, Wes, Bill Master Crafter's on. He had surgery today, so just note that. So
wishing you well, Bill.
Yeah, he's out for like he'll probably be remoting in for a couple upcoming weeks. He won't be on tomorrow night, but yeah, he just
swift recovery, brother.
Yep.
So go ahead, Les. I'm sorry.
No, not at all. The one of the things that I think you can also consider is, there's the mechanical aspect. There's that idea. There are different degrees and types of evil, just as there are different types and degrees of good. When you talk about a taint, that was one of the things. I love the idea of places that can taint you, but with something for example, Spine Castle, where it's basically really tough moral decisions. I like the idea that you can morally compromise a character through their choices, right? And that's one of the things that's been a big thing in my campaign, even before the Spine Castle stretch. Very early in the persistent campaign, as Twitch would no doubt call it, one of the early PCs, I talked to him. He had wanted to be, and I loved the pitch. He had disappointed his parents because he didn't have the discipline to be a paladin.
Right.
And so what wound up happening over the course of these adventures is he falls in deeper and deeper with these other PCs who are not very nice people, some of them. At one point, he winds up having Turin Deathstalker, of all people, pushing his buttons about how, it must be terrible having those deaths on you. I know how much you... I know your aspirations. I know that you have a good heart, and I can't believe that you would let someone who is responsible for these deaths walk free, even if you consider that person to be a friend, because you know what that means, not only for your soul, but for the families of those victims. And the player was just cringing. It was beautiful. And then furthermore, he became corrupted by an eldritch abomination and slowly started transforming. So you have this whole kind of descent arc with him. You know, people think about redemption arcs.
Yeah.
It was kind of cool to see him go from a character who had aspired to be lawful good just into ultimately he is transformed into an eldritch abomination himself and carried off by a Shoggoth, right?
Yeah. I think you bring up a couple of good points that I think we should for especially newer DMs, you should, meaning your game group, if you have things like reverse alignment or someone can kind of put compel a spell on you to you have to go out now, you're evil or something like that, meaning especially old school D&D had these things that you can kind of get a reverse alignment, or you get an artifact screws you up, screws your character over so bad that he
here
becomes
comes Mike.
evil.
Wow.
Oh, awesome.
I guess he didn't have a game.
Yeah, that's great.
Les, I'm going to put you in the bottom row of the picture list, okay? Oh, there you go. It did automatically.
So. Or Anna,
hello, welcome.
Hey, Mike.
But what I'm going to say is that some groups, some players like to do stuff like that, to play off and some players, no, I want to play the way I want to. I don't want an artifact to tell my character.
This was a kind of a collaborative thing where he once I put him in a position where, in order for his character to acquire something that the character needed for the group, a bargain had to be struck.
Yeah.
And after that point, you've opened the floodgate, right?
Mm-hmm.
And my point was, are you willing to lean into your character's decline? And he was like, oh, yeah. And he did, and the players were just utterly horrified at times. It was brilliant.
Yeah.
But the thing was, it wasn't something that was forced on him.
Exactly, that's the point.
It was something his character chose.
Yeah, you should tempt the players to have their characters play evil by giving them cool perks if they do, and then see which falls for it. But that could also be tricky. So only do that if you think your players are up to it, or ask them if they are, so to speak. So
absolutely.
It's
going back to the subject of that subject of good. Then there's also that opposite thing where you can have a character who aspires to be better than they are, if that makes sense. They aspire to be someone more ethical than their situation might necessarily push them, if that makes sense. They want to be something. They want to be a better person. They want to find some sense of justice in a world.
Yeah. And unless that is a great point, but I just want to have one advice to GMs: don't punish players who want to play good. Meaning that well, if they're in an orc tribe, that might not go well. But in the general population, a lot of people should come out and help and be more positive, so to speak, when a character does that. It should bring you more allies than enemies, but it brings you a few enemies too. But it should be generally seen as a good thing, I think.
In general, yes, and also I think that it's important to realize that it's a matter of the context.
Mm-hmm.
In which the PC is operating, or NPC. Like, if you're, I don't know, Spine Castle is a good example. A lot of lawful good characters would not do very well in Spine Castle, or in, the Lands of Ayus or certain other locations. And again, it's also a matter of tailoring what kinds of characters you're using to where your campaign is unfolding.
Mm-hmm.
Unless it's a war kind of unless it's some sort of like Furiondian knights.
Shieldlands they can go. They can do really well. A lot of lawful good can do well. There's a target-rich environment.
I have my Shieldlands filled with lawful neutrals too, all over the place. I got half the Knights of the Holy Shielding don't know what the hell they're doing. They're lawful neutrals, and I have all the full teams.
But you prior to the purge.
No. I'm talking about it.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and there's a lot of ways to go. It's just, it's a matter of ethics. It's a matter of, and it's a basis, right? Alignment's a basis. So Mike, I'm sorry, no game tonight?
Yeah. Still went out to eat, but
that's cool.
Game.
But it's our gain. We got you here, so thank you for coming.
Right.
Yeah.
So we're talking about good
guys and gals.
Mm-hmm. Right.
We haven't gotten any specifics yet. We're just we're spitballing
laying
here.
The groundwork.
Yeah.
Okay.
What are your thoughts on how important it's been in your games, like alignment and good versus evil.
Alignment? No, alignment ain't what it used to be.
Right.
Yeah. Not unless you're a paladin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've shifted how I implement it mechanically from it's more important than it used to be. Now in my new Hawk Tales rules that I'm developing, alignment is more important mechanically, but it functions differently than old school stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
I still have the basic 9 alignments though, so it's the same 2 axes, but it's interpreted in the rules differently. But it's
excellent. Very cool. So,
yeah,
why don't we each throw around an example of a very good or good character? Who wants to go first?
I have one
go for
lined up here. Yep, I have Belisica Geller, the Countess of Ernst, as she's a powerful, good player, so to speak, and she is the countess of a good country that is bordering evil and Ayus, so to speak. So she is I have her as a very powerful diplomat, kind of power person, so to speak. She's the one that she's great as a quest giver. She might aid you secretly or openly, and she arranged a lot of activities behind the lines in IUs and so on and so forth. She's the one that organized. She might hire a good line party to do things, so to speak. If a party ends up in trouble somewhere, she might send someone to. She doesn't do much herself. She organizes things in various ways and make sure that things are funded. She builds networks and stuff. And in order to facilitate it, because I wanted her to have a little bit of influence in my Shieldlands campaign, but I wanted her to be a distant up there somewhere. So for the players when they're high level. So I invented a son of hers that I call Remy Geller, and he is the Archbaron of Divarna, one of the archbaronies of Ernst, and also and he's a high emissar, so he's a diplomat in that terms. He's basically one of these go out there and do stuff, so to speak, and he's a 20-year-old hotshot with too much money and who wants to go out and have a dangerous life to show everybody else that he's someone, so to speak. And he's one of these that could be a hands-on quest giver. If you have a party that wants to do things, he was the one that can provide them with equipment, with something to do, and can also check them out, so to speak. One that can actually, if they're out doing things, he can kind of come and check and see what the heck they're up to, and to see what's going on. And he's the one that have worked in my campaign in the Shieldlands behind enemy lines and stuff like that.
Oh, she got Ernst people in the Shieldlands.
Oh yeah, the good ones are cooperating. They realize that's the way to beat IUs is to gang up, and the good ones in my campaign are that's what they're good at, networking, and they trust each other a way that evil don't. Evil are full of people that only trust themselves and out there but the good ones are fewer, but they are much better organized. And so yeah.
But I will pick a bone with you there.
Yeah.
Good people can have rivalries amongst other good people as well.
Oh yeah,
and also be suspicious.
Oh, yeah, but much less than evil, in my opinion. Yeah.
Well, I think the difference between a good rivalry is they're going to try and one up another. An evil rivalry, one's going to shiv the other one in the back, right? I think that may be the.
Yeah, but the good ones, once you have a common enemy, then they are the ones that trust each other. The evil ones, they will like, oh, I can cooperate with the enemy and get him out of the way, but the good ones would not do it. But you can, I totally agree. Meaning, you can play it one way or the other. Meaning, just because I do it that way, it doesn't mean it's right or anything. It's just that my preferred way of interpreting the world. But yeah, so it's.
Can't do. So you're not thinking hard enough, Bill. Can't think of any evil character that isn't an NPC. Well, I just gave you one.
Yeah.
Mark's not playing now, so the problem is how long will they stay working together? What's up, Patrick? So, Mike, what do you got? You got someone?
Boy, Anna let off with the best one, didn't she?
But so I got another question: is the Geller in the Gore novels, is there any relation, or is that just his first name, Anna?
Oh.
Was that an irony? Isn't there a Geller in the Gore novels?
Oh yes, and he's related to.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He's very much part of the Geller family.
Is he good?
Yes.
Is he good line too?
Oh yeah. Kind of. Yeah, he's good in line, but he's one of these out there, and I'm not sure exactly how he fits in. If he's Bellicica's, I think he is Bellicica's brother, if I remember correctly, but I might be wrong on that one. It might, yeah.
Goes by his last name.
Yeah.
He just goes by his last name, kind of like Gilligan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So he's one of them. I have it that Bellicica, she trusts, like a lot of rulers trust blood and kin more than others, so to speak. So if you yeah. So he is Geller is one from the Geller family. They're one of the most powerful in Ernst. So it's probably the most powerful in Ernst. So yeah.
We got Mike.
So yeah, no, I was gonna piggyback off the Bellicica thing here because I actually used Countess Bellicica quite a bit in a one of my high level 3rd edition campaigns where one of the players was actively trying to court her, and I kept moving the goalposts out on diplomacy checks. It was funny. I think that it got up to like DC 50 at one point, but what I was struck by was in the reading, it says that Bellicica is like one of these rulers that's loved by all. Like, she probably doesn't really have, even I would be charmed by her, right?
Come with the head of Zeech, the from her neighbor. Then you will have a weekend with her easily. So
right.
Yep.
So it
Bring
was
her
just
the
a
head
lot
of
of this.
Zeech. Yeah,
we were doing a lot of this courtly intrigue stuff with that character, and that was a lot of fun because it's a good line nation with not really a whole lot going on. Just the drama that you brought with you.
Yep.
That's
awesome.
So you were talking about Anna was talking about creating a brother for her. I had created I don't know if they were cousins or something like that, because I was trying to keep the other players interested. So there was Sarah and Michelle Geller.
That's funny. I get it. Buffy.
Buffy. Sarah and Michelle Geller.
Yep.
I like it.
So that kept my friends entertained for.
It's spelled differently, but it's funny.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. It was. You just could not avoid it.
Yeah.
And she's a wizard, if I recall.
Yeah.
I'm not sure which source it is, but she's not a low level character at all.
Yes. Like you just lost a level, according to Scott Jefford.
Yeah.
For that. We've all done stuff.
I'm a big time punster, just like Jay.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with a good pun.
Yeah.
Or a bad one, for that matter.
So yeah, I'm kind of piggybacking off of Anna on this one. Want to see where this topic goes.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Cool.
What do you got, Les?
I have a specific NPC, a fairly obscure one, and then where that set my mind a-going. You may remember you remember those Greyhawk adventure cards that came out in the 90s?
Yeah, of course, and out of the Free Cigarette box set.
No, I'm talking about those cards. They were like
the trading cards.
Yeah.
Oh, I know what you mean. You're going to do the good Lich.
No.
Oh,
although he will come up later.
Okay.
Yeah, since Gary wrote an article about him, he will come up later. But no, in this case, I was thinking of Morgan Ravenstar.
Okay.
And something about his backstory, which is very brief. For those of you who have any of the cards, he was number 307 of 495. But Morgan, as it mentions on his card, was a lieutenant under Lord Hulmer of the Shieldlands at the beginning of the Greyhawk Wars. But lost his entire unit to the enemy. And as a result of that, he went on a quest to kill a sea monster in the near dive to regain his honor.
That's a weird thing to do to regain. I mean, it just seems.
No, it isn't actually, and I'll explain why.
Okay, I got to hear this.
If you look back on medieval romances, and by here I'm meaning both the so-called Matter of Britain, which is basically our Arthurian legends,
right,
or the Matter of France, which had to do with Charlemagne and his paladins, his peers. There's a recurring idea that you get this kind of in the film Excalibur as well, obviously, since it's based on Mallory's Morte d'Arthur. You have the idea that if you screw up, or if you somehow feel that you've failed, you have to prove yourself worthy again. Again, he led these men into their deaths. He himself did not die. If he wants to regain his honor, because he didn't die with them,
right,
he has to do something noble. And what's more noble in some ways than ridding an area of a sea monster? That's what knights and paladins do, is they kill evil beasts, right? So that makes sense to me. And also I think it sets up something about the Knights of the Holy Shield and perhaps some other orders that are associated with Heronius. The idea that it's not a matter of transgression, right? It's a matter of necessarily, it can be transgression, but it could also be failure. You fail on a quest, you fail on a mission. How will you then regain your honor? What kind of deed will you do that will outshine that mark on your character? And so you get that a lot in medieval literature. You get a lot in some of the later Victorian iterations, like reworkings of medieval literature. And really, that's the thing, is that these are not knights as they existed historically in many cases. When you start introducing paladins and so forth, you're really getting into that idea of the ideal, right? Which is what many of these stories were about. And it goes back, Sam is correct. I mean, this sort of thing goes back all the way to Greek. I mean, you can look at some of the Greek tales, etc. It's a similar kind of thing. You've got to rebuild your honor, right? The expiation of crime, exactly, by heroic deeds, or the expiation of a shortcoming by a heroic deed. You can also think of that in terms of, with the Shieldlanders, I was thinking, there's that article by, was it Reynolds, I think, in Dragon 354, Core Beliefs Heronius, where, among other things, both there and I think in Cordell's Bastion of Faith, they mention the idea that there's this kind of idea, there's this notion in Heronius's in Heronian theology, that you kind of have to set aside your ego, right? Doing good is not about you're going to outshine the other guy. It's how do I fit? How will this accomplish the good end?
Okay.
And you'll notice that with the Shieldlands, that kind of went south, with everybody not trusting, everybody kind of letting politics bleed into it. So in a way, the way that I cast my Shieldlanders is that there's a sense of guilt, if that makes sense, that they lost their land because pride got in their way. They could have united, you could have a united front, etc., but all this petty politics and everything helped undermine some of that. So that's another thing to think about. So that would be one kind of my way of throwing that out there to think about. And also, I think it's interesting for the character. It's interesting for the player if they're into that sort of thing. And again, this is one of those things where I'll emphasize, yes, this is session 0. This is what your players are comfortable with. But again, the paladin type is very much a kind of holy warrior, right? And an exemplar, a model of an ideal, or at least that's what they aspire to be. And so I kind of like that idea that you get those kind of almost like Excalibur-esque moments where, like, you go and you have to do penance, or you have to do something you have to do some great deed to make up for a shortcoming or failure. So yeah, that would be also, I'd recommend, by the way, along those lines, a couple of things. It's not Greyhawk, but it should be. There's a series of novels by by Elizabeth Moon called The Deed of Paxenarian, which is about a girl who runs a sheep farmer's daughter, I believe, who runs away from home because she doesn't want to be married. And she joins a mercenary company, and she slowly uncovers the fact that she has been gifted. She is supposed to be a paladin. And there's actually a portion of the novel that a lot of people have noted. I myself have commented on the fact that it's very close to the Temple of Elemental Evil in Hamlet.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
But her, and she played D&D around that time, so go figure.
Thanks, man.
But the author did. So there's that as a source for thinking about paladins and
I've never read it.
Chivalric artists. And then of course there's Paul Anderson's Three Hearts and Three Lions, which I know Sam is also a huge fan of. Yeah, that's exactly right, Von Beck. Book 2 is the one with the Village of Hamlet moat house thing in it.
Like, is it called Hamlet?
No. This is obviously serial numbers filed off of everything.
Okay.
But if you look at the map of Hamlet and then you're reading the book, you're kind of going to go, I guess it changed maybe a couple of degrees this way, and this building's over here, but it's the same kind of premise, same kind of setup.
It's cool.
So yeah, that'd be one approach that one can take. And again, it's such a great contrast to thieves guilds, right? And to planning your next larcenous activity or tomb raiding expedition. That kind of thing can be a great, or heck, you could have a tomb raiding expedition that is your way of atoning for your for some kind of transgression or to make something right. It can be a holy mission, right? You're not simply looting a tomb; you're doing it for a cause. So that's another way to approach that. But I wanted to throw out that character because I found that fascinating. Also, by the way, curiously enough, if you go through those cards, his warhorse Cameron is also written up on a card. So that paladin from the Greyhawk Adventures cards back in the 90s. So
that's cool, man. I didn't, I don't have them, so I don't have all the different ones in there. So, Bill, I didn't know there was a black company and a white company, because I know you love the black company.
Yeah, there's a historical white company, yeah.
Yeah, so
actual IR in real life mercenaries from history.
Because Bill loves the Black Company books.
Yeah, Glenn Cook. Yeah, love it.
So Bill put in Deirdre Longland, who she's a paladin of Mayheen and Hardby.
Yep.
So like the biggest, I think one of the highest level Mayheen worshippers in the city. As you go into, we're talking about Hardby in the 3rd edition era, like in that Hardby City of the Scorn by Luby and Earth Journal 10 has, I think she's in both. So
yeah, Deirdre and her brother Oscar.
Yeah, Oscar
originated in Artifact of Evil.
Okay.
In Gygax's Artifact of Evil, of course.
Yeah, and then they get transferred over into other sources, which is good.
And they did, like I said, if you want another good example of a questing thing with Paladin, just to throw this out right quick, what Deidre did in Safeton, which I'm sure you're familiar with, it's mentioned in the Gord novels. I think it's certainly mentioned in the write-up on Safeton that was done during the Living Greyhawk on the WotC site. The idea is that I believe it was their aunt was kidnapped by someone who is a self-declared boss of Safeton. This was a terrible mistake because apparently the woman died in his custody, and then Oscar and Deidre just walked into town, decapitated him, and walked out of town with his severed head. Justice served. So, hardcore, man.
So, we're having a little side thing here, if you see it in chat, between myself, Bill, the Master Crafter, and Tim. So,
about the White Company?
No. About what's the worst named adventuring group? Let's see what he says. Gosh, I had to ask him that because that's why Tim's ding bombing me here. So, because I'm like, Nuclear Meat's on tomorrow night. He's like, that's the worst name ever. I said, no, Mega Patrol is way worse. So, yeah, so we're arguing about that. I'm sorry to get off topic, but all right, for me, I'm going to go to published source right off the bat because there's an adventuring group and published source that I love in the Free Secret box set, and it'd be a shame not to discuss them to all you noobs out there. Just kidding. And that's Fellowship of the Torch. Chapter 7 takes all kinds. It's from the Free City Gear box set. I love this adventuring group. It's really well done. They're all good alignment. Some of them have neutral taint to them a little bit. But the main one is Nastasia Ariani Nightstar, dual-class human fighter mage. She has 2 professions. So, and she's a little bit higher level in my game than 4/4. But yeah, and they look lawful good. Actually reveres Ouija a little bit, Ral and Ouija. So, but that group, they do a lot of good deeds and they fight against evil. They have that dual class fighter mage. They have a ranger. They have a straight a mage. I think they also have an illusionist. They have an illusionist and a straight thief, gnome thief. So, and he's good alignment too. So, yep. Oh, it offends you. Okay, well, I'm sorry if it does. I didn't name them nuclear meat. They did. So let them have their fun. Just like with Dale, just can't stand the Slav Squad name. Sure. But that's just the way it is. It's what they named themselves. I'm not going to tell them what not to name themselves. They did it. And it's another one that probably would be offensive. So
I feel lucky when players even come up with a company name.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, every adventure group of ours has a name. That's just part of the fun of our campaign. So, some of them are goofy. Here's 2 drink minimum. Coined by Ed and Eric Mengi and the whole group. Yeah. So.
Yep.
Yep. So that would be my first one. There is Fellowship of the Torch and Nastasia in particular. Not a paladin, but lawful good nonetheless. And look at this. That's 18 charisma. Has the stats to be a paladin. Really does, but
doesn't have the moral character to be a paladin.
Well, 18 charisma.
Or not the ambition to be a.
But she wanted to have spellcasting ability, a bit. So it's just
there you go.
You could have the stats, but not want to be lawful good and be a paladin. That's the thing,
Yeah.
It's just it's interesting.
Does that group have a leader?
She is.
She is.
Also, she has the first ever, according to me, scalable magic item that I could come up with. I could find, and that's the Torch of Anaxander. So, yep. Too much intelligence for a first edition paladin. Why? Because they had to have a dump stat, Ranford. That's your thought, right? That's their dump stats intelligence. So that's all good. But that's just I love the character. I think the character's great. Had a lot of interactivity with her and the Iron Brigade, which is in our main top adventuring group in Greyhawk City. So there you go. All right, Anna, what we got?
I have one from Ivid the Undying. Ivid the Undying is full of despicable rulers and evil ones and questionable characters everywhere. But there's one shining beacon in that. There's several, but one that I think stands out as a good guy, and that's Karn Serand of House Crandon. That he is he has a whole bunch of title. He's Marquis, meaning he runs the marshland of Shathold. So he's the Marshal of Shathold. He's the Lord of Goldbolt. That's the castle that he runs, and that's his castellan of. And he's also a member of the Crandon Conclave. So he's he's a paladin, I think 13 paladin of Rao, 13th level.
What page is he on, Anna, in the thing?
I'm not sure. Even the Undying is a PDF, so it depends on which version of the PDF you got.
How do you spell his name? Is it with a K or a C?
Yeah, K.
K, and then his last name starts with an S?
Yeah. Surround, yeah.
I don't see him.
But you search for Karn, so he should be there.
Yeah, I'm looking. I don't see him.
Yeah, he should be there somewhere. So yeah.
Okay. No, all good.
I'll see if I can find him. Hang on a second here.
Doing searches in PDFs never work.
Yeah.
So. Cool.
He's on 139 in Goldbolt Castle. He's described under his castle. He's mentioned there. So yeah.
139 and Eyes the Evil?
Yep. No, even the Undying.
Oh, yeah.
Not Eyes the Evil.
Well, no wonder. I'm in the wrong damn thing, you dumbass. I'm talking to myself now.
No, it's okay.
Holy jeez.
Yeah, so
No
he
wonder.
is kind of interesting, and I think the role he could have in a campaign is that he can run your safe haven, meaning you can run an adventure group that goes back to for recreation and recovery to Gold Bolt, and then he can send you out to do missions in different areas to clear up, and you can be part of the team running his thief, so to speak, and his area, or you can just rent rooms there and come back again in between adventures, or it could be a place where you store your treasure or stuff like that. So he can be there like your big brother to bail you out when it gets really bad and stuff like that. So, and he is a paladin of Rao, which means that he's not one of these hot-tempered ones. He's one of the smart ones that thinks before he hits someone, so to speak, and as much as an advisor as someone who just goes out and kill things. So,
with a storm giantess. Wow.
Exactly. He has a storm giantess too that is in the castle. So
crazy.
it's yeah. So it's an interesting little place there that you can kind of use, and I think especially use it you can use it as a safe haven to has a base of operations for low level adventures. I think, or to low to mid level adventures. I think it will be great.
Excellent.
And you can bring him in as one of the power players for high level adventures too. So there he can be one of these NPCs that kind of work around your party, guide them, give them advice, helping, and so on and so forth. That's why I used it, because he's one of these power players that are being sent places, do missions and stuff like that. Because he's reliable and smart as well as powerful.
So why don't we go next to our favorite Mike? What do we got?
Yeah, wow, I'm really surprised to find such a high level paladin in Even the Undying. I thought
exactly
that
there's only one, I think. Yep.
Undead and stuff.
Yeah. Yep.
Or just unscrupulous nobles. Hey, check this out. So Les was bringing up the trading cards. I got a link here. Here's a trading card for you.
Uh-oh.
Because I've
Jalarzi.
Everything. Jalarzi trading card.
Yeah.
Yep, she was on my list.
Yeah, I mean, wizards are low-hanging fruit, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
That's all right.
But
and yet so many of the wizards in Greyhawk tend to be either evil or neutrals.
Yeah, neutral,
with one or two exceptions.
Yeah, so she does kind of stand out.
Here, I got the artwork. I got that Dungeonmeister artwork with Jalarzi in it that I've been scrolling through.
But like, if I'm going to look up stuff on Jalarzi, I'm going to look at the City of Greyhawk box set, right? But I remember
this one here, far left.
Way back when I found that trading card, as I was, looking for something to type about, and that kind of tickled me to see. Jalarzi is she's also an Ernstite, right? We were talking about Ballistica earlier.
Yep.
So there must be a tradition for female mages out in the Ernst lands.
Which one's Sewell? Which one's more
small sample size.
One's Sewell, duchy or county?
It's the
duchy.
Hang on a second. Yeah,
it's a duchy, right? Okay. So my guess is that they have the tradition of more wizards.
Well, yeah, I think they both have for some reason, but duchy is more Sewell than. But if you have a female wizard running the realm, she might promote other female wizards, so to speak, both in as an inspiration, but also she might want to look out for someone like you. Meaning, if you're run by someone who by a man who never cast a spell, then he might not even promote them or see you an example. So I think it can be both an example or actively promoting them, so to speak.
Well, yeah, I mean, Anna, if you were to take Hardby as an example, all right?
Yeah.
I'm sure that's not the only place in Greyhawk. It's just that in some areas, it might be the women might be more discreet about it.
Yeah,
shall we say?
and Greyhawk have often been criticized for not being equal or kind of old curmudgeon-y setting in various ways, but there are a surprising amount. There's a fair amount of female rulers in Greyhawk, so and powerful ones too. So I'm not completely disappointed in the old school stuff. So meaning Belisica and Yuland are perfect examples of good rulers that are powerful and big power players. So yeah, so there's it's their share. There's definitely more in Greyhawk than it was in medieval Europe. So so it's an improvement, so to speak, on the inspiration. So I'm not but it could have been better in some ways, I guess, but it's definitely not bad in that department. So yeah, we have examples. Yep.
So we all know about Jalarzi being in that Return the 8 module, and she's got a lot of development. She's got a lair and everything. I like that
she gets seriously messed up in it too.
She gets messed up, but I like that they actually tried to develop one of the Circle of 8. Like, I know more about Jalarzi than I do, say, Nistel.
Well, that was all Roger Moore. Roger's come on and talked about that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Saying we don't know a whole lot about some of the Circle of 8, but she got a little more.
But back in the early days, there wasn't much character development. That came later, so to speak. So when Roger Moore, that era,
through their spells.
Yeah,
and that's getting around to my point here is we don't have any Jalarzi names.
Not yet. They're supposed to be coming out in this next edition.
Right, Jay. That's why I heard the rumor that there's going to be some. So I can't wait to see what they pull out of their ass on that one. But I will
pull away, I guess.
But hey, Jalarzi's getting some more play. Great.
Yeah.
As long as they stick to her as a good character, you know how they are.
Well, they've already made Igwolf good too, so.
She's kind of a neutral, but
I know I had to throw that out
but
there.
But Jalarzi, is still one of the few good ones we got. And like you were saying earlier, there are a lot of neutrals in Greyhawk.
Absolutely.
So very few and far between the good wizards.
I can think of 3 out of the 8 of the Circle of 8 originally were good when they added Jalarzi. So can you name the other 2? There's 2 others that are good alignment. I bet you Bill can. Bill Master Crafter can. Well, Bill, what are the other 2 good aligned wizards in the Circle of 8 besides Jalarzi? See if he gets it. Oh, there's 2.
Yeah, I know 2. Yeah. Yep. I wasn't sure that was the only 2, but
there's 3 total counting Jalarzi.
Okay.
There's 2 others. Counting in addition to Jalarzi, there's 2 others. What I don't know. What's one?
Tensor.
Yeah, that's lawful good. But there's another one.
Bigby.
Nope.
Bigby is good.
No.
Oh, hang on a second. The one that
Theodane's later. I'm talking about earlier. Theodane's is not. He's chaotic neutral. So.
Come on. Hang on a second.
Tensor, a.k.a. Manzorian.
Yes. Yeah. This one likes to eat a lot of cakes.
Oh, Otto.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Otto's good. Let me verify. I think he may be neutral within parentheses G. Let me take a look.
I thought he was straight neutral.
No, I don't think so, Les. I got the. I'm always.
But who is it that ended up in Viluna?
Viluna.
Yeah, there's one of them that ended up in Viluna. Maybe he wasn't in. I thought that was Bigby.
No, Bigby's a gnome now anyway, Hannah. So.
Oh yeah, that's true. He's
kidding.
A gnome now, so we don't need to worry. We don't need to worry anymore.
Good gnomes.
Yeah, I need to brush up on my of the 8 story. I haven't dug deep into this. So, yeah,
I'm seeing neutral when I look him up, man.
Yeah, Bigby ended up in Viluna. Thank you, Uncle Fuzz.
Are you serious? Hold on. Yeah. Maybe I'm wrong. I could have sworn I thought it was N with G and parentheses.
He came from Rasfern in Reldevon. That's where he's coming from. And then he ended up eventually in Viluna. So I assumed he was good.
All right. Yeah. We'll all do this together to see if I am wrong and need to apologize.
No. You don't need to apologize because I wasn't.
Morning Canaan is neutral. We know that.
We kind of, that's his big thing. So,
Tensor, lawful good, neutral tendencies. Bigby, neutral.
Okay, yeah, but he ended up in Viluna. So, but
yeah, I
know.
Yeah, I'm right. Neutral, good tendencies. There it is.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Drawmage neutral. Now maybe that's changed in future editions, Les. But this is
exactly
this is Free City Greyhawk box set.
I think by third he was neutral. So
neutral, Nystal.
So then we can't use Bigby. Yep.
Neutral, Rary, neutral. And then goes nuts. Yeah, so there you go. All right, so so we can both be right there. Neutral, good for RZ. I knew we had a little tinge of it. So according to this is my this is the book. This is what I use. This is Free City Greyhawk box set for everything. So that's cool. Dragon Era. I started in 569 because I love the Battle of Emerald Meadows. So but 579 is awesome. Yep. Otto is N with diabetic tendencies. Yes, but Gary, I go from this. So there you go. He's got good tendencies according to our friends Niles and Sargent and oh my God, Rick Rose. So all right, who's next there? Les, you up?
Am I? Okay.
Yeah, I haven't gone yet. So, but I'll wait for you.
This is a historical personage who first makes his appearance in Scourge of the Slave Lords, the compilation module. And that would be Edwara.
You got me. You got me. You got me. I don't know who that is, Les.
If you go through the slave that Slave Lord's book,
right?
And this later comes up in also comes up in The Adventure Begins, I believe, and it was in the Greyhawk and Andy Miller's Greyhawk Holidays.
Oh wow!
The Feast of Edwara was basically Edwara was a priest of Rao, who basically argued that he created something called the Edwaran Compact, which is basically that the good, you notice how, and Gygax mentions this in the DM's Guild, that lawful good people and nations don't always get along. Yep. They can quibble over theology or resources or whatnot. The point of the Edwaran Compact is that those who serve good, and later I think it included just basically some neutrals could be involved, but you didn't have to be lawful good. But basically the idea is that you set aside your differences for that greater good. And Edwara then became a venerated figure who's in Safeton and in some other parts of the domain of Greyhawk. This is, of course, the Wild Coast, everywhere around there. Basically, you have a week-long festival that's called the Festival of Edwara.
So it's basically, what's the history? Do we know a time frame this character existed? Because if there's a festival for her, then it's fairly, at least in the past, right?
It's in the past. All that it mentions is centuries.
Wow.
So sometimes it was a long time ago. When you get to The Adventure Begins, that's kind of dropped off, the observation of that. But I've kept it alive in some of the rural communities, particularly those that have, like, if you're doing post-Greyhawk Wars and you have communities that have, say, clerics of Rao, Cuthbert, other gods there, those communities still celebrate this as a way of kind of marking the let's all set aside our differences and remember we're here for the good of the people who live here kind of moment.
That's a deep dive. So Roger Moore would be impressed if you pulled that out to his 2.5 book, right? Is that where?
Yeah, originally it was the Scourge of the Slave Lords.
Oh, it's in the Scourge, the compilation. Okay.
And then later
wow.
It appeared in Adventure Begins.
Good job on that one.
Mm-hmm.
And you notice this goes back to what I was saying about the Heronians as well, is the idea of that sometimes you have to put aside, the good guys need to put aside their squabbling, because bad stuff happens while they're fighting. And Edwara is one of those figures who basically just said, look, guys, we need to settle down. We need to set aside our differences. There's just too much evil that's too strong right now. And everyone did. And to commemorate the compact, all the communities have the communities where these priests are, they have a feast, and everyone participates, everyone donates food, the whole community partakes of it, and it's a reminder of that we're all on the same side. Basically, we're all gathered eating by the fire, and let the darkness be banished.
So I'll give you credit, Les. I usually someone will bring something like the Paladin that Anna brought up, right? I heard of him, but I have no idea where he's from. Okay, this is the first time I've heard this. How about you, Anna? I've never heard this before.
No, this is awesome.
You brought up something. Wow.
This actually ties in. This came up in my campaign when the players were going up the Wild Coast, and they happened on a town that was just beginning to celebrate the compact, the feast. So yeah.
Prophet Smedger, did you hear what Les just said? Something from Curtis. So I'm assuming that has an inside connotation to it.
Probably about Heronius.
Yeah, let's write this down and publish it somewhere. So we have it. Yeah.
Speaking of
my contribution for now.
That's good. Speaking of Wild Coast, and I don't understand why Tritherion disappears in future editions. Right? Tritherion is awesome.
Oh yeah, and it's such an obvious god to have, meaning for freedom and
retribution.
And
good,
exactly.
Good retribution.
And, and
come on, he has cute animals.
Yeah, well, that too. But like but like it has.
Today's audiences would love Tritherion just because he has pets.
So I try to relate who would I relate this to in real life, like this character, and I always think like. Characters like Rutger Hauer in that Wanted Dead or Alive, or Cobra, the Stallone movie, where he just kills everyone. It don't matter, right? But like it's to an end purpose.
I think for Tritherion it would matter because they're good, so they don't kill indiscriminately. They are targeting their. Yeah, that's my view of it. That's the difference between good and evil. Evil kill whoever happens to be in your way, if you can go faster, but the good ones will. Yeah.
This character's made is a regular in my campaign now. Pulled from canon, Blade Storm.
Cool.
Yeah,
that's an awesome name too.
Yeah. Yes. So Kata good. Multi-class specialty priest. That's actually of Heronius Ranger. All right. So Blade Storm, demure half elf, honey blonde hair, large blue eyes, and a peaches and cream complexion. She also commands the respect of the Narwhal headhunters. So I love this. She is an impetuous, hot-headed half-elf, as befits a clerk of Tritherion. No one is sure when she emerged from New Walkwood, but some say it was to avenge her human father murdered by bandits. So the Greyhawk militia smilingly offered her an impossible task, that of bringing back a dozen bandits known to be well-equipped, who had been a thorn in Narwhal's side for 2 years. 2 weeks later, she came back with their heads in a bag. She's been taken very seriously since. Blade Storm prefers not to capture people alive. There you go. So she's killing a lot. So
yeah, but that doesn't say that she's killing indiscriminately.
Well, I understand that, but
because I was going to mention, along those lines, there was Creighton Broadhurst's great piece in Living Greyhawk Journal about the Knights of the Chase.
Yeah.
And one of the things I love is that one of the abilities that prestige class had was that they could single out a target and mark them. Like basically, it burns their weapon burns Tritherion's mark onto the target.
Oh, thanks, Troy.
So it's kind of like basically, you can't go anywhere. You're always going to have that mark indicating that you're someone who, is of, shall we say, morally dubious character, and has committed some kind of crime. And I kind of love that idea. It's very much like, if you remember, the spider, the old pulp villain who would burn the image of a spider into criminals' foreheads.
So Les, the third game during my 24-hour, Specialty Priest of Foltis. Now these are from Relic and Rituals books. There's a spell called. There's two spells. There's one called what was it? Mark of Justice or whatever, and Condemned. I mean, literally, burning brand. They put a scarlet. That spell puts a scarlet leather on your body, your forehead somewhere.
Yeah.
Which is really, and so the Priest of Foltis is like, I'm not sure I get to use this today, but like those are awesome. Those kind of things, putting them into the game. So,
and I think also just in terms of tensions between good groups. One of the things that I love, and I believe Paul kind of helped, or Creighton really developed this concept, is the idea that the so-called Knights of the Chase, right? are pretty much despised by so many other groups because they don't respect monarchy, they don't respect rank. Their thing is purely the idea of justice, and they in fact are convinced that sooner or later all these lawful kingdoms are going to become corrupt. It's just it kind of reminds me of the old thing about how, you know, if you keep your bloodline pure enough and the family tree doesn't have enough branches, you're going to get some good rulers, but you're also going to get some not quite so great rulers.
That to me sounds terrible, because that's the opposite from how it works. But if biology might be different in your game, so to speak.
No. I was thinking more along the lines of like what one of the French writers said about I think.
Well,
the
I know
aristocrats.
that's always been people's idea long term that pure blood is better than
don't you go there, Bill.
But we know it's the opposite.
No, the idea here, Anna, was that you might think that it does, but actually it winds up leading to horrible consequences.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. Which is
that's the point. That's the point that was
perspective. Yeah,
that was the point that was being made there.
Yeah.
I was just using that as an example. For the Tritherianites, at least the way that they're described in that article, they're convinced that all of these things that are based on aristocracy and lineage and stuff, it's all going to become corrupt sooner or later, or you're going to vomit up a bad ruler sooner or later. It's just a law of averages.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why the Knights of the Chase also try to help people self-defend. They try to teach farmers and other people how to self-organize and protect their own communities, rather than rely on the aristocrats and of course that could cause, you can see where that would cause a big stink in certain areas politically. You have someone who's basically saying your monarchs are sooner or later going to become corrupt, so you might as well be prepared to defend yourselves, possibly against them.
So to finish up on Bladestorm, you got to do a couple things with the rules. She fights longsword, which is really not allowed, but so we have the monkey grip thing. And I have an NPC and Bill has a character. They both try to emulate her by fighting dual wield longswords. And also she does things like mirror image, so it looks like there's a ton of her, hence Bladestorm. So cool character, really cool character.
Yeah, I like her a lot. She figured into my Narwhal.
Yeah, it's a great. It's. I'm assuming that Sergeant wrote her, and also there's another one in here, Jan Deser, but that's in the original Greyhawk box set, and she's the highest level priestess of Tritherian that I can find anywhere in the entire Flannis. So she's in both the Free Secret box set and From the Ashes. So there you go for some Tritherian love early on.
Awesome.
Yep. Go ahead, Anna.
Okay, I'm going to bring one from my own design here, but it ties into the stories of both D&D or AD&D itself, but also Greyhawk. So it's Arkail, a gold dragon, and he is one of Bahamut's 7 companions, or guardian gold dragons. I mean, Bahamut have 7 gold worms that protects him, so to speak. And Arkail is one of them, and he has one of his lairs in Selene. He's one of the protected. They have a connection. My elves have a connection to the good dragons, so to speak. So because they've been around the bend a long time, so they invite him to have a lair in Selene, because it's like having nukes in your backyard, so to speak. It's kind of good to have someone that you can trust that can run there. So he has a library and a keep and stuff like that. And Arkail is also the father of Catherine Walworth, because she is a gold dragon in my campaign. So that ties into it, so to speak. And so since they alter ego, meaning their humanoid persona, so to speak, that the powerful good dragons like golds and silvers have. So therefore they have it. So Arkail, he placed his daughter, so to speak, as a hatchling with the Walworth family 200 some years ago, because he wanted her to become a paladin of Hieronymus, and that was part of the story. So that I wove that into, and then Katarina has the same story as she has in the public, almost completely, so to speak. But I gave her somewhere to come from, so to speak, and I've used him a few times as the big good guy, so to speak, that when the going gets really tough, he can come and be some artillery and air support if need be. And he is the one that can provide financial support, and he's the one that also bankrolls Katarina's war in the Shieldlands and her campaign to become the heir of Belvoir too. So
that ain't happening.
Oh, in my campaign, that would very well happen. If you have 2 gold dragons that kind of are pushing, that's like having the biggest donors in a U.S. Election campaign, so to speak. That's like having 2 billionaires on your side. It's hard to resist them, so to speak. It's so that's part of politics. And it's so yeah, and there are other provincial nobility in Furuundi who don't like it at all that these monsters are nestling in, even if they are kind of good ones, so to speak. There and some of them are like, oh, this is awesome because they're reliable long term and seen as big good investors, so to speak, into politics. So there is a division between them. How to react to it, so to speak, and IUs is not pleased one bit because the coffers are open and they can bankroll a war for another century or so if need be, and live for another 10 centuries or at least 5 or 6 or 8 centuries. So be enemies long term. So it's part of that building long term, and they can be especially quest givers, financiers, and provide safe havens. And Arikail has a research library that is really, really good, so to speak. So that might be somewhere where sometime where the characters can get invited in order to do research in his library and stuff like that, so they can discover stuff. And so you can use it for that way. So he's more like the wise old dude can play that can kind of provide them with or interpret stuff they find somewhere else, because he's been around for like 800 years or something. So he knows a thing or two about both the setting and speaks a lot of languages and is powerful. And so that's the role, like the grand old daddy that can help out with stuff. So and be powerful as well. So that's something that, and I like to have NPCs that ties into the story. I try to weave them into the setting, like they should have been there all along, so to speak. So not coming from nowhere. So yeah, that was one of my big good ones that are there.
Mike.
So for some reason, my mind started drifting off to some of my old campaigns and whatnot, and how my players at best you could get them to play chaotic good. Like that was always their default, chaotic good. So if they wanted to, then flex some muscle, they could do some questionable acts and still not go evil, right? But very few lawful good I can think of. Maybe only one that stayed lawful good. I even had a player one time who was a Palorian cleric and turned to Nerl. I mean,
well, that's a minor thing.
Yeah. It's
wow.
I'm boggled thinking, like that's why we didn't really keep too close track of alignment, because once they got higher level, like a lot of my epic campaigns, they were all pretty much flirting with evil at that point, and I always had to make villains that were more evil than the players were acting, just to kind of keep that scale. But as to like really good guys, very few people could play a paladin or something, do it justice. Anyhow, but
good one.
So that's just my general thoughts, maybe from earlier on in your topic. But it seems to me, I guess what I was getting at is, you have good guy NPCs in the Wilgrok setting, and maybe adventurers, because you see this a lot with like the Circle of Eight and other fighters, maybe like Roblar or whatever. That these are the kind of the heroes are expected to be the ones doing stuff that even the good guys and gals are afraid to do, get their hands dirty kind of stuff. So maybe that's why I didn't have a whole lot of good player characters. And then your paragons of good, like Canon Hazen, let's say, in Valuna. You don't hear much about him besides using the Kirk of Rao, right?
Yeah.
Does the guy ever leave Valuna? Is he kind of sheltered there? the dude was like 20th level, right?
Yeah.
So how did he earn his levels? I would like to hear his backstory, right? Anyone?
He was cloistered.
Anyone? Is that 20 levels of him writing scrolls?
I guess. You never know.
Yeah.
A lot of crazy stuff.
I think he'd have some impressive backstory to get that high level, but I don't know. Or maybe he was lower level and then banishing that many demons got him tons of XP.
Yeah.
But
took advantage. Bing, 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 bing.
But yeah, like a high level good priest, which there are several examples of. You wonder what did they do to earn those levels.
A lot of times they're just created from scratch, and then that's left for you to decide.
Pretty in a vacuum.
Yeah, which is okay. I mean, it's part of the game.
Well, I can imagine, like, if we're talking thieves, let's say neutral characters, like Nerif Gazgal. He earned his, he grew up a thief. He worked his way up the ladder, became the mayor. His story almost writes itself. Then with Castle Greyhawk and a lot of the named wizards we have and other adventures, they went into the ruins of Castle Greyhawk and did all this stuff, but we don't really know much about what a lot of the good guys did, clerics mainly.
Right.
They just are created in a vacuum.
They are, absolutely. There's some really high level ones. Yeah, I agree. All right, Les, you're up.
Okay, I have another fairly obscure figure, and I want to stress going into this that the character may not necessarily be lawful good. The character's alignment is not defined. However, his significance to the forces of good cannot be underestimated. I think, at least if you really want to play with a Great Kingdom campaign, I'm going to say, going all the way back to Dragon Magazine 59, and Rob Kuntz's The Great Kingdom and the Knights of Doom, Amastis Carcosa.
Okay.
Who was the patriarch of Foltis, who denounced the Overking for his evil practices, and was willing to see the Fultons ally themselves with Cuthbert, the followers of Saint Cuthbert, and basically was calling for open rebellion against Ivid. Ivid dispatched troops to arrest him. He disappeared. That's the last time he's mentioned. But it's presumed that he escaped. And if you're looking for, but he may not have, But regardless, I would say that this is a figure who, if you're running
look at that! I have it right here.
A campaign in Roxas, you can think about the idea that there's this character who stood up to the Overking, denounced him as basically falling under the sway of Zane and striking pacts with all the fiendishness that had been going on, and was saying enough is enough. This madness needs to stop. We Fultons need to ally ourselves with the followers of Saint Cuthbert. Anyone of good of all humans of everyone of good nature, for lack of a better term, everyone of good intent, good heart, should overthrow this tyrant. And I kind of like that idea. Again, it's that idea, the idea that you have woven into the fabric of the campaign. The idea of someone who's almost not a saint, right? But definitely a borderline martyr, if you see what I mean.
Yeah, absolutely. And it doesn't say what happened. No one ever knows. So it's pretty cool. So a little quickie sidebar. Just, wouldn't it be cool if we got Rob writing this stuff again instead of?
Oh yeah.
Okay, that's where I think we should. Yeah, you understand where I'm going there.
yeah. I mean, I love this stuff, and I still love this stuff because it's so rich. And I mean, you have the connection between Zane and the Moir family. And then, he first appears in the Wild Coast, works his way up to Mar Castle, apparently, or at least has some connection to Mar Castle, becomes an advisor to Ivid, and then is denounced by this priest of who wants basically is calling for open rebellion. I mean, this is just some great stuff, man. So yeah, at any rate, that would be on my list.
Troy, I know. I've tried. I made my every effort, but wow, that's another great one, Les, that brought to attention. Kind of even makes me want to play something on the right side of the map. No, it doesn't.
You should.
No.
Oh yeah, you should definitely play some on the wrong side of the map, the right side.
No, we got enough people. We got enough people doing that now. So, but that's okay. I mean,
and by the way, I was going to mention, since he's here now, Troy, in my ongoing campaign, played the most kick-ass priest of Tritherion.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, he led a band of people who included a very silent girl who was a blade master, basically, who had, when she was young, her throat had been crushed, so she can't speak except through her weapons, and when she's speaking to you, you know it. She uses the weapons as her instruments of speech, and that was one of the people who was following him. And yeah, it was a great, glorious session against some Iusians.
That's fantastic. Very cool. All right, we're going to go one more round, then we'll do some theoretical discussion, as Les talked about in his post idea for this. It's very good topics so far. So, Anna, what do we got?
If you want to, here's one from my Shieldlands campaign again. If you want to have a general leading the troops against Ius, and you don't want to go with Katarina because she's busy with her political campaign and running her home thief in the Shieldlands, then I can recommend Count Atur Yakatai. He's cool. He's 7 feet tall, and he is a big one. And I have him as one of these kind of leading from the front generals, and his titles are impressive, so to speak. He's a noble grace, meaning he's the marshal of the shield, meaning he was the former leader of the Shieldlands. He's a lord of Grabford. He's the marshal of Furundi. He got Katarina's job after she and he is the one that Katarina trust, because he was there. He didn't like the decay of the Knights of the Holy Shielding. That's why he moved over to Furundi to fight the war and to abandon the Knights of the Holy Shielding, and kind of told them that not living up to his standards. And he's also the Count of Crystal Reach, and so then Belvor made him the Marshal of Furundi and the Count of Crystal Reach. So he has a impressive, but I don't have him as a noble by birth that much or anything. He's one that earned it, so to speak. He's been from the front line. He's 7 feet tall, weighs 350 pounds, and he's kind of one that has been out killing things and training using the sword and stuff every day since he was like 5 years old. So I have him as one of these like 18, 19th level. Yeah.
I'm sorry to jump in, but
no,
you
please.
said he was the Marshal for Annie, so did he replace Thrommel then? Essentially,
no. When it comes to guiding the troops, yes, but he's not elected. He doesn't want to be no royalty, so to speak. He wants to be at the front, and he's that type that he loves to be out there with his men and kill things and stuff like that. He's not a political power player. He's the one at the front. He knows how to kill Iusian orcs and set them up there and hang out with his troops and lead stuff like that. I don't have him as 6 intelligence. I boosted up. He learned over the years, so to speak. But I don't have him as, he's not one of these super smart political maneuver. No, he doesn't. No, he wants to do a good job, defend the home turf, because he knows he's really good at it. So and to lead from the front and to be really, and he's kind of a paladin / fighter, more fighter than a paladin, but he has some paladin abilities as well. So he is one of these generals. So if you want to fight a battle, to have him on your side, that means that you will win. And he's the one that will take on any comers, so to speak. Anyone, he can beat them with a sword or an axe or whatever it is in melee. He's impressive in fighting skills, so and stuff, and the men trust him, and he's a very good tactician. He's not a strategist. He's a good tactician. Give him 500 troops and he will win any battle, so to speak. And if not, he kills half the enemies himself. that's kind of guy, so to speak. So
you have him way more prominent in yours than I do in mine.
Oh yeah, he didn't become Marshal of Furiundi, and that was part of the story in the Living Greyhawk Gazetteer and stuff. So I took that story and just weaved him around the story that was already there. So and filled in a few blanks here and there. So and I think it's cool. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Definitely. Took a cough. Go ahead, Mike.
Yep.
So I really struggle to think of a good fighter that's not a paladin, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure there's got to be some out there.
Yeah.
That are
Atu Yakatai is an example of one that is primarily a fighter. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not easy though, I imagine.
Yeah.
Because we do have plenty of paladin examples, I suppose.
Well, you certainly have some dwarven fighters and so forth.
Oh yeah,
that's true.
So I didn't even think about dwarves.
Yeah. And elves.
Elven.
Well,
halfling.
You know, I almost like purposefully avoided elves because elves seem to be this to me like chaotic good.
I was going to ask about Melf's alignment. Isn't he good? Is he?
Yes.
Good? Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. But I guess to finish out this thought, I like. I've always been a fan of Merlin.
Mm-hmm.
He's a paladin. But he's like, the cowboy paladin, have gun will travel, all that. Just a lot of fun. He's, those quasi Ds are a little of everything, wizard and whatnot. And I think, because I had to go back and look, most of Merlin's gang are all good. They're neutral, but with some good tendencies. And of course, Merlin's lawful good.
Lawful, yeah.
Yeah. So Merlin is also a character that I used a little bit in me and Scott Casper's Castle Greyhawk graphic novel we did back in the day, and it was kind of, to this day, I'm kind of confused why he wasn't dressed up as a cowboy for Scott's stories. I just took his direction when I was doing the art, and he was just dressed like a fancy courtier outfit, tooling around in a dungeon. I always thought that odd. Like, I know he was working off of some Gygaxian history to that or something like that, but the Merlin I'm familiar with
is this one,
like Clint Eastwood.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So missed opportunity, but I did use Merlin in my comic strips when he was as part of the Gods in Space, flying around in Spelljammer. So yeah, Merlin, one of my favorite characters, probably does not get enough love, as a hero deity. I do like that there's a paladin group named after him. Yep. I think he's, he's always uses the exception to the rule for black powder stuff. Yeah, Boot Hill, Troy. Yep. But I think if you really wanted to just run with the whole black powder thing, that maybe Merlin could be pushed to the front, and you could have more Merlin types.
So that was a question that came up on one of the boards. Give me a second here, and we'll go over. Someone actually said, "Well, what do you do?" And I said, "Well, it's already written." And I know Gary hates this, and I'm sorry, Gary, that you hate it, but Slaver's reference, right? Slaver's reference. There's a specialty priest of Merlin and Kellenin that work together in here. And if you go in the very back, here is the Merlin god, hero god, right up, and the specialty priest stats. Yes, and they don't call it gunpowder. It's smoke powder, which is a magical version. If you see that, so at 10th level, smoke powder weapons work for the priest. So if they can get a hand of a,
so it's yeah, it's not that hard to get access. By the rules.
Just sure. Well, just this is second edition, so I mean, no one has to do this in their game.
And you can always stick with the original write up on him, where it's a magical approximation of a six shooter. It's a wand.
Absolutely. 100%
magical projections. Which, by the way, Merlin appeared in my campaign as well.
Nice.
And my players were tripped out. And yeah, I mean, that was how I played it. I played it as not any kind of even alchemical gunpowder. It was just straight up a magical projectile from a wand that looks like a 6-shooter.
Yeah, that's simple enough. Closest I ever got to actually using something Merlin related in any of my tabletop campaigns was Merlin's house in what module?
I'm sorry, tabletop Merlin's house.
Yeah. Where's Merlin's house in a published module? Anyone?
It's very far up northwest.
No,
not
on the map.
Talking about the event, the module.
This is not on any map.
Oh,
it's
okay.
a module.
Isn't it in either Dungeon Land or Through the Mirror?
Yeah, it's the mirror.
Yeah.
The mirror house. That's Merlin's house.
Yeah, because he has a castle up in northwest. Yeah.
He's off
he has a castle on the Drummage coast, just south of.
I don't know where that comes from.
Yeah, it's somewhere. I forgot where I didn't come up with it. It was somewhere.
But early on in that module, that made me think to myself, one of the hallmarks of being a quasi deity is you have your own abode on a demi-plane or something.
Yeah.
So that's what my players always aspired to do. That was the example.
Perfect. Eric Mengi revisited in the last LG core set in Greyhawk. Well, they revisited a lot of stuff in Living Greyhawk, didn't they? So, like you said, depends on what edition you're playing, depends on time frame, and everything like that. So that's why maybe I go from an older aspect in the 1E, 2E era, and there's a lot of 3E that just like. It's a shame it was so disjointed, but there was some real good stuff during the 3E era and Living Greyhawk and some crazy stuff. So, all right, Les, what's your last one?
I'm going to do a twofer if that's cool.
Sure.
We mentioned the cards earlier, and I want to give props to a certain Mr. Gary Holian on this.
Cool.
I believe Kit over at the Oyster Journal asked, if I'm not mistaken, this was the thing. Gary can correct me if I'm wrong, but Kit really wanted to see a write-up on Seagrim, or Saragrim rather, excuse me, who is a lawful good lich in those cards. And an explanation for him. And Gary, if you look in Oyster Journal 33, Gary has a really cool article, and it has 2 undead figures.
Yeah.
But the one that I want to focus on is Saragrim, because I love this idea that although far lesser known, Saragrim is unlike any lich that has existed in the Legends of the Flaness. And he is wise and just, and uses his magic to sustain his land. And his devotion to his duty in his realm was so strong that a path to undeath was opened before him. Of course, he surrounded himself with powerful magic, and many suspect he has the crown of might dedicated to good, given to him to protect by the Archmage Shandor himself. So I really like that kind of lore. I like the fact that it kind of ties into the general Bone March area, and also along those same lines, I was going to mention Saint Benedor, who's in Oyster Journal 34. I really like it when people develop the ideas of these saints and these holy figures. And I particularly like, there's a kind of cruel irony, which I won't spoil, but if you read that article, there's something at the end of the Benedor thing that kind of just made me sad in a really good way. Basically you're held in let's say that you're away from you're away for a while. You're kind of locked away for a while, and you return and you see what's happened in the interval to these places that you once knew and loved. And I really like the way that there's that kind of sense of mourning and loss. Also, while we're on the topic of just good and evil in general, I want to commend to everyone the Paladins of Greyhawk articles that Gary did that were in, I believe, They were in the Living Greyhawk journal back in Dragon 306 when it was when it was part of Dragon, in Dragon 306, and Dungeon Magazine, Polyhedron 163. Those two, which was in 104, Dungeon 104. I really recommend those 2 articles on Paladins that he wrote, because there's a wealth of really neat good guys in those. So just in general, Holian has done a lot of really good work when it comes to fleshing out some of these Paladins and Orders of Knighthood and stuff. And I commend his work to those who are interested, particularly the pieces I just mentioned.
Mm-hmm. Good.
So there you go. But Saragrim is a great character. Although my players don't realize it, they've been exposed to elements of the legend of Saint Benedor and some of the influences of Saragrim without them realizing that that's been the case. So there you go.
Yep.
Is Jay muted?
Muted.
I think he's muted.
So I love this character too. Yeah, Twitch Prime sub would fix that. Yeah, Detroit. I did turn it off for the time being. Just it's not a big deal. So we're gonna come down here. We're gonna come down here. Now I can't remember the. I may have forgotten the page. I think it's in the 100s. It's not Nyrond. Ah, crap. I had it set, and then I moved it back up to the top. And all right, so it's Fearendy. Fearendy should be right here. Coming up. Sorry. Oh, here we go. Sharnalim. Okay. So, some things about Sharnalim. Sharnalim is got a border. This is especially if you're in the from the Ashes era, in particular. Sharnalim is a knight, and it doesn't. It says Fearendy, but I think maybe more High Folk, but I'm going to keep her. It says Fearendy in here.
Does have that feeling though?
Yeah, it really does. Like she's a human that really associates with elves. She has the elven canines, the Tiergs in her place. She is on the line of the raising line, almost right at the end, and she has a keep. She's also a Swanmay, which is cool. Most Swanmays are in the Gnarly, so that's a little bit of a different thing here too. Neutral good character tendencies, so definitely with a really cool character and a ranger. But really in a really bad place, and you never hear what happens. I'm assuming Living Girl killed her because they killed everyone, but just kidding. Anyone know? Bueller? No, that was a joke. I'm seriously. I don't know what happened to her, but in my era, she's involved. Our group that's in the Vespi sometimes collaborates with her to try and do what they can to boot out as much of the Iusians out of the Vespi forest. We're at the detente, that stalemate currently in my campaign with it. So it's a really, she's a powerful character, young. It says her castle's daunting, eerie place. So it seems very, I don't know, what's the word when you're like good, but you got something about you that's like just not right. You know what I mean? One of those almost like a supernatural effect. So really, but a great character. So that's my last one there.
Well, Jay, actually, can I ask you about someone else?
Please do.
Karstein.
Well, yeah, Karstein was one of the ones I mentioned in the shout out article.
Yeah.
So, and I have it here. Let me see if I have it here real quick. Instead of going here. So Karstein. Actually, the funny thing is, Karstein shows up to Altamira once a year. Does everyone know when?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, she's there. She's actually in the stands for the joust every year.
Oh
yeah, Karstein shows up because and this character Gesherin Haflorinus is one of the jousters. He's usually seated 14th, 15th, or 16th, right at the bottom. And I think Antiquitous played him last year, right? So oh, thanks, Mike. Thank you so very much. So but her and her entourage is all noted here. And it's a great article in From the Ashes because she's got her paramour and all, So and Cheyenne Stormhanded is really, they call her tempestuous, right? So she's like, I guess it's a word for loose. I don't know. She's high elven female 30. She's always hitting on everyone, Order of York members, tempting them. It's funny. There's a lot of interaction we have, and we've done adventures at Karstein's Castle. Because if you don't know where it is, now sorry, for those of you who don't know, where it is. Let me bring up Anna's map.
Jay, tempestuous is a little more like stormy or.
Oh, is it? I thought it was.
Yeah.
A mix. I thought it was
it's kind of like
angry.
It can be, but it's more conflicting and kind of. It'll be one way 1 minute and one way the next.
Tempest is the.
Yeah, I understand that, but I thought it meant that like she was. Yeah, but okay, you're
a lady of easy virtue.
Well, not but a lady of like. Well, gosh, I'm not going to go there. When they're hot and cold, they're cold and they're hot, right? Right. Yeah, all right. We'll just forget that there. So here's Karstein's Castle. I know for a fact they wiped this place out and live in Greyhawk.
Yeah, like so many other places.
St. Bean said earlier, examples of good. I think we should work out if you desire to. And you know that, Gary. I used St. Elder just recently in an adventure, right outside the Sus. So I've used that. So here's Karstein. Good one. I love the heraldry too. Have you done that one in a newer one, Anna?
I think so. Maybe I missed it.
If you haven't,
on my list.
Yeah.
If I haven't, I will do it. So
okay.
Hang on a second. Let me check. Yep.
Yeah, that's funny. So.
And just by the way, while we're here, I was going to mention, and I know Gary is a big fan of this, but if you remember.
Yep, I have.
Cool.
I have to make sure I have that. Go ahead there, Les.
I was going to say, remember the late lamented Scott Benny and his article back in Dragon back in the day, Dragon issue 79, the setting saintly standards, which I think is another great article that a resource for DMs who are interested in running good guys or looking at good guys in the setting.
And that's what Gary just mentioned.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I believe so.
Which is
he was mentioning all the saints and everything, and I'm like, I know that he's a big fan of that Scott Benny article.
Oh,
so
it's same great. Here. I mean, Kargath comes out of that article.
Yeah,
that's what Kargath is. Original writing for Kargath is that article.
Yep.
So 100%. Of course, Anna map is available online. Anna will link it to you. It's free for download. Yep. So here it goes. Comes to you, of course. So
get it here, and we can also get it.
Anyone in the audience want to bring up one or question on one of them? Because there's a lot out there.
They got the gnarly Rangers, which we haven't even really touched on. And back in, if we're going back to the old Rangers from
there's more than just the gnarly Rangers.
Oh, of course, but I'm saying
right there, the Swan Maze are there too.
Yeah, exactly. Although I was thinking more in terms of player characters, but yeah, certainly you have the Swan Maze, and you have various other. How can I put it? Goodly Fae as well as some naughty Fae in the area. I mean, there's a lot of really cool stuff you can kind of exploit for the gnarly.
I once again, with me being a Narwhal, it's all in play.
Yeah.
And Les, I'm not sure if you stated where you placed, but I took Rob Kuntz's Dark Druids and I threw it right in there with everything.
Yeah, gnarly. I think we talked about that. That was when where I have that location set. Yeah.
No, you don't, Prof. You're not like Buck Rogers, Faye. I know you're busting. I know you're ball busting, which is funny, but it is really so. But whenever you do that now, I'm decided that I get to teabag back. So there you go. So
you're teabagging. Are you teabagging tempestuously though?
Yes, tempestuously teabagging.
It looks like it. Yep.
Absolutely. So. Yes, I'm ready. I'm prepared now. So Arch Baroness Evely of Ratic. That's absolutely. That's a good one. That's a real good one, Greg. A real good one. There's so many good, and we Melf is another one, and the Melf of the world of what Sargent put in from the ashes. It's not the Melf of the world of Luke, So, yep. The pregens of various modules suggest many good characters. Of course, there's a ton of them. In fact, from the G series, Funkin' Heidi Peak is like second in command of Order of Ulick, and he's from the original. He's a pregen character. And I think that Carlos is actually writing that character up for one of his adventures. Yeah, a piece of that little thing. But you can get it. I mean, it's 250 meg or whatever, I think, right? The full map, Anna, for the zoomable JPEG? It's not bad.
Yeah, you can watch it. You can run it in the browser on the Easy Zoom version. You don't have to download anything. You can just look at it. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's about 250 meg, the JPEG version. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Yes.
I will I was going to say, too, if you go through the novels, since we mentioned Geller earlier, I think we'd be remiss not to mention Curly Greenleaf.
Yes.
Oh, okay, yeah, definitely.
who is a one of those neutral good Rangers/Druids that Frank Menser discusses in Dragon 100.
Yeah.
One of those rarities. And it was actually apparently one of Gary Gygax's PCs. So.
Okay.
So we've gone back and forth on that for 20 years. And came to this, and when I created that Avenger class, which is the subclass that can turn into monster forms of Druid, we finally made a decision that we're going to allow neutral, then we're going to allow the good-sided neutral Druid and the evil-sided neutral Druid, right? So we have, that's where we went to solve that problem. Especially with that Druid Ranger multi-class. For example, a character, I almost gave it away. Josh Platt plays a Druid Ranger. His character, Carl Spacklerleaf, is a Druid Ranger. So, yeah, please just share it for Anna. Mm-hmm. Anna's, it's open. Creative Commons, so it's all good. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Dark Druids is wonderful. I would love for Rob. I always stress this, to write more stuff.
Matter of fact, there's if you remember where Dark Druids leaves off, there was a descent into that kind of proto Underdark.
Yep, absolutely.
And I would love to see him pick up from there and see where he would take it.
Great idea. Absolutely. All right, we're coming on to time here, and the time always flies by in these. But we probably could do a lot more in a future discussion. There's a ton of them.
Absolutely. I'm going to say that I'm glad to see this discussion taking place. Like I said, I think it's too easy. Or not too easy, but we too often default to the discussion of all the evil, right?
Right.
And all the morally gray institutions and political machinations. And sometimes, that be the thing is, well, it can be, because I would point out there's a great bit, I think it's where something William Faulkner once, when he was talking about, which this is going to make me sound pretentious, I don't care.
No.
He was talking about the role that Greek mythology and the Bible played in his writing, right? And he was saying he was fascinated with all of these aspirations and all of these lofty goals and the best that humanity can aspire to, and the ways that we sometimes fall short. And I would argue that also I'm interested in the ways that people exceed their expectations and exceed the expectations of others sometimes in accomplishing good. Like, there has to be that kind of balance.
James Joyce. That's funny.
There's no particular reason to avoid, if that makes sense, to avoid that aspect, or to avoid the fact that light and darkness, man. You can't, if you have one, if it's just evil, you can't see very well. You need that little crack of illumination, right? For everything to take on value. And that's why, again, I would say that sometimes it's good to reward your players for little acts of mercy that they might show towards NPCs or whatnot. Don't overdo it, but sometimes if one of them breaks character and they, I always remember, if you will, from the Gord novels, the bit where Gord runs upon those orphan children who have just lost their parents to Keek and company. Mm-hmm. And and he basically sets them up with some clerics and says, I swear I'm going to find who did this to your parents, and they'll pay.
That's Tritherian retributive.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very kind of Tritherian thing. I would argue it's also, to some extent, a very human thing. It doesn't have to be explicitly Tritherian, and it isn't in that context.
Right.
But just the idea that you're going to, I see you, I feel, I know, and Gord is himself an orphan, right?
Yep.
So for him to recognize that in these children is a bit of character development that's thrown in there. It's kind of actually surprising, because a lot of people don't think character development when they think of the Gord novels. But he's gone from thinking of himself to thinking of others. And I think that's kind of a cool thing. It's a cool character moment.
Absolutely. So, Anna, what are your closing thoughts on this topic?
I think it's one of these things, aside that it's sometimes a little bit forgotten if you just have a party that goes around killing monsters and fighting big evil guys. You need to, especially if you run like a sandbox campaign where you have a world where the player characters travel around, they need help and guidance and safe havens and quest givers and various rules like that. And that's where you need the good guys. Where you can, one of the pitfalls is that try not to, and it's I have a hard time avoiding it, to make them player or GM or DM run characters in the party, so to speak. That's the
avoid that.
Yeah, but it's tough at times, so to speak, and because at times it might be a good idea to but then make sure that someone the players can control for the most part. But I try to stay away from it, and normally I can't. But I usually put in some ones that are lower level than the characters, so they can kind of it doesn't interfere or shine above the characters. But I think the world needs good leadership and NPCs and monsters as well as evil ones, so to speak. So to help out the player characters and to spice up battles and stuff like that.
So good points. Absolutely great points. And I really appreciate that.
Thank you. Yeah.
Mike, thanks for coming on too. And thanks for getting me through part of that night, Friday night and Saturday morning.
I don't know how I got through the 1 hour I was there.
That was rough, but so worth it. So what are your thoughts?
I'm now thinking ahead to Rich's next campaign, where I'm going to go from a frontline fighter to my idea. You might not end up liking it, but my idea is to do a good rogue.
No, I like good rogues.
Yeah. But I mean a good rogue who has a 0 kill count.
So he does all the fine traps and the read languages and open locks.
Yeah. To challenge myself not to kill sentient creatures. So, things like
what edition are you playing?
Rich's homebrew system.
All right, so you can play anything you want there.
Yeah.
So
it's all about it's a skill-based game.
Right. That's
the concept is to play a character that is so good, like not necessarily not necessarily a pacifist, but one who maybe draws a line at only like destroying constructs and undead and stuff like that. Because rogues, even the goodest rogue in D&D systems, even the goodest rogue is still a murder hobo at heart. Because it's baked into their skill set.
Well, I think it depends on a lot of things too. I think it depends on the setting you're in too. If you're in Spine Castle, I think sometimes you cannot not fight, right, Les?
Sooner or later you wind up with blood on your hands. Either you've killed someone or someone has killed on your behalf.
And if in Rich's setting, that's possible. That's great.
But you mentioned, it was mentioned earlier about having that mercy on NPCs, and I love doing that when I'm a player, because as a DM, I recognize that mercy thing, and so when I'm playing, I like to do the mercy thing because I think it opens up new possibilities for the adventure and the story and whatnot when you actually let an NPC slide by.
Absolutely. there's a lot of instances of sacrifice that go on, and when it happens in my games, I kind of like give them even hero point here and there. Where I think I do something that's kind of selfless. I do that a lot. I did a couple. It could have been I was just so punch drunk I didn't even realize it. But I've done a lot of those over the weekend, last weekend for characters. So I agree. I absolutely agree.
I think also,
yep.
It's kind of cool. I was thinking also, the DM should also kind of explore that line, that weird line that you have at times between the good and the not so good. Like I'm thinking in the city, I think it's I might be mistaken. I believe it's the Temple of St. Cuthbert in the City of Greyhawk box set that most of the thieves wind up tithing to, because so many of them grew up as orphans.
Yes,
and because the orphanages are run by, and it's one of those things that I love because it's one of those little things where, these are not necessarily good guys, but they're donating generously to a good cause.
Well, there's part 2 of that is the Guild of Night Watchmen. You must be a follower of St. Cuthbert to join.
Yep.
So
exactly.
They want to try and get a get out of jail free card once from the don't ever do that again, and that kind of stuff too. So I think it's.
Then the question is though, will that always work? And yeah, I mean, I love those kinds of ambiguities. These are the things. Again, we tend to think of how good and evil just has to be. The good guy has to be always lecturing or whatnot.
Yeah.
Or blindly, throwing himself. No, we must fight these. When in fact there can be some ambiguity and some negotiation.
Well, thank you for tier 2. Thanks a lot, that 3.
Yeah, exactly, Gary. People are not necessarily in Greyhawk are not monotheistic. They you can worship and serve a variety of gods, and sometimes you want to hedge your bet.
Yeah.
Like if there's a god of mercy, and I'm a thief or a killer, you can bet I'm going to tithe to that god, just in case I wind up with a noose around my neck, right, or on the executioner's block. I'm going to want to hedge my bets there. At least for the well-being of my soul, perhaps. So yeah, I mean that's another thing to consider too.
So we covered only a smidgen of good characters that are published source in the game, and barely any of us got to any of our own campaign ones, which is kind of good.
I put in a couple. That was it. Yep.
Yeah. For me, I can always talk about them during a Gavin show.
Yeah.
So and there's a lot of them, but so fun stuff coming up. This is a 4-stream week, so we got a lot coming up this weekend. So Mike, what's going on with you?
Well, this is the 3rd week in a row that Vecna's plans have gone unmolested by my players. So
hate that.
What I also hate is the more time that we lose, the more I feel pressured now to edit this adventure. I was going to try to run it, cover to cover as written, but now I'm saying the time constraint is already creeping up on me. After like 6 weeks, it's already
that stinks.
I'm thinking about it, but it's all right, I guess.
So,
but otherwise, what's going on? I think I'm going to have something in Visions of Greyhawk.
Well, guess what? We'll talk about that shout out in a second. Right? We will talk about that shortly. Yeah. Yep, absolutely. That'll get discussed. Visions Greyhawk 3, right?
Yes.
Yeah. We will talk about that. So, Mike, sorry about that. I'll say this. I'm kind of blessed. So I have one of my regulars, 3 this second week in a row, 3 out, 1 in. And I just make a special game instead. So I got, we'll talk about that in a second. What's going on tomorrow night? So
I was going to offer to run 2 more. I was going to do 2 Mahors for those who would stay, and then, but no, they just like dropped one after the other, and then.
Wow.
One of them's like, so want to go out to eat? Yeah. I'm not going to turn down food. But yeah. So.
You should have to do that hour round trip commute you were doing before, right?
Oh yeah. No, I stayed local. That's why
I'm not.
Good.
That's good.
Why I'm not. I don't feel tired right now.
As long as you weren't dining at the Tomb of Horrors, that's all good.
Yes. Yes.
So thanks for coming on, Mike. What? Les, you got a Visions article coming out?
No, I don't. I will have some stuff coming out later in the year.
Okay.
Right now, we are in my Spine Castle campaign. We are about to do the last adventure above ground for a little while, and then Then we're switching into. We're going to be doing some one shots and some play tests for some people. Some hush hush projects, which I think everyone is going to be. When they're polished off and they've been adequately play tested, I think some people are going to be delighted to see some of these projects come to fruition. And then we're, of course, going back full bore into the payoff to the Spine Castle campaign. So be sure to say a prayer silently or aloud to the deity of your choice on behalf of my players and their characters, some of whom may not make it, and many of whom had long in-character discussions the other day about what they will do if they die.
If they die, they die.
Yeah, but it's not quite that simple with what they're facing. They don't just die; they are devoured slowly.
Like a Saranac pit slowly.
If you could imagine that being done to your soul, then yes.
Oh, dude, you're like on Tim level, Les, with stuff, man.
And then, of course, we've got virtual Greyhawk Con coming up, and I've got some other pieces that I'm working on for the zines. So yeah, it's a good and busy time.
And registration is up, and the shirts are there. T-shirts are up too. We're already out of 3Xs according to what I just looked at. Whoops.
I have to ask Patrick, Canadian Gamer, are you talking about been there with respect to having died a horrible death in one of my games before, or sorry?
Patrick always dies.
Patrick had a rather spectacular death at Virtual Greyhawk Con last year, so. Yeah. Exactly, Curtis, exactly. Being slowly devoured or having your head explode.
Like a blood sausage.
Exactly.
That's funny. So Anna, what's going on with you, Anna?
I'm working on my commission. It's probably about a little bit over a week, maybe 2. We will see how many corrections and stuff. So it's a couple of more weeks when I'm only part-time Greyhawk, so to speak. But what I'm doing in between doodling and fixing up that big map is I'm working on Hawk Tales Fantasy Roleplay. That's the working name for my rule set that I will use going forward, so to speak. And I want it to be ready, an early alpha that I can run on virtual Greyhawk Con and Gamehole Con and stuff. So I will start testing it out probably in about a month or so. I will run some skirmish games and stuff because they're always balancing issues. You have to, and it's kind of funny that the most advanced stuff is the easiest to do. It's the basic stuff that is the hardest to get. And so it's a lot of fun, and I never thought it would be so much fun to work on rules crunch. I haven't done that forever. So and I feel like an amateur who's having fun. But the good thing is I'm not working on a rule set that's going to sell in millions or thousands or anything like that. I'm working in something that will suit my style of play. So it might be a good one, and it will be published for everyone on my website or on a separate website. Probably will be Creative Commons available for everybody, and will be so to speak fully featured rule set in a year or 2. But I worked on it for like 5 years, so I'm starting to to have the most of the stuff is actually done now. It's now the nitty-gritty details to get in. I'm working on spells, arcane school of magic specializations and stuff like that. So if you want to be the coolest caster in the world, how can you get to do it? So, and it's D&D, but there's some holy cows that needs to be slaughtered. So armor exists on top of armor class. So you can actually stop some sword and damage done with armor as well. So there's some holy cows that need to be slaughtered. But I think for some people it can be a really cool game system, I think. So, and then there will be more heraldry and stuff coming out, but the main thing is to get my commission done. And on Friday, there will be a mapping live stream as well.
Perfect.
Yep.
Yep, that's my only night off from here day off from here to through the weekend. So, all right, so this is what's going on. No 24 hours. So I appreciate all the nice commentary, but if you think I'm doing a 24-hour stream in the next 6 months, you're crazy. All right, I just my body can't take that at age 57 that often. Neither can Tim, because Tim was. If you watch the third game, he was just like lying on the floor between rounds, so he was messed up too. He was more messed up than I was. You were acting more goofy than I was that last game, Tim. So tomorrow night. I have one of my regular players. I have Walt. So we got Heather Hex, Coco Bonnie, Korg the Mighty, the return of Nuclear Meats, and the Name Adventures Tracker. Plus a special guest who's playing. And because I'm, once again, you'll pull Coco next time. So I have a special surprise for everyone who played in that third game. Right? The one with all the Fritz Winchester, ancestors and an assassin in it and all that. There's a huge surprise at the end of this one, because this one goes to, and I have it here somewhere. It starts right where we left off on. Now that's 115 years in the past, but it starts at Hearthguard Tower, right where that one ended. So we're gonna have some fun, and that's all I'm gonna say. And we'll see what happens, but it's a cool. I think it's cool. So that'll be on Thursday. Saturday morning, I get to play again. Tim's and the title's wrong, but I haven't changed it yet. But City State, 9 a.m. Tim City State, 9 a.m. I get to affiliate back 13th level Cavalier. We have Coco playing, we have Patrick playing, and we have and Tim's daughter Valerie playing as well, playing Pocket Stinkle again, which is hysterical. So yeah, that's our group for there. Hey John, thank you, appreciate it. Great game. And then so Sunday is going to be, we're going to do a little Gitano, I think, tribute on Sunday, because Tim can come on Sunday night. But we're going to have Ron on from Page on Sunday night's Gavin. And yes, Anna and I are both VIPs. Mike Schley's a VIP. Mike Shea's a VIP. There's a lot of VIPs. So we'll talk about the con with him. Talk about game theory a little bit too. With Ron, so and some other things. You can ask your questions. Cool. That's cool, Jeff. Because it's gonna be fun.
Tribute. So.
What's that? Yeah, we're gonna. Yeah, I'll have some pictures from the. I'll find. I'll pull them out. Just a quickie thing. And so you're not. You got to earn VIP, Tim. I still can't get VIP status for GaryCon. So I guess I'm not. That's all right. I'll pay my badge. So Anna's got it though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why you're ever mysterious, man. So yes, exactly. You're a VIP to this community. So yeah. Oh man, I hope not, Jeff. Oh yeah. Well, cool. Yeah, Page is fun. It was way better than I expected first year. So we got a lot of cool things. Now Anna, we got to get with Mike, with John about the Mike Schley seminar you want to do with him.
Yep.
So.
Yep.
And that'll be it. I know I'm forgetting other stuff. So please, Virtual GrowdCon is going strong. Sign up. And, like I said, I got this shirt on there. I got a Slav squat. The sizes are limited for the Slavs. I don't have many of them left. And then the T-shirts are on there too. So let's do the giveaway. Mike Shea's coming. There's a ton of guests. Menser's coming again. Chet Minton. There's a huge amount, a lot of YouTubers. Like, I'm the only Twitch guy. They're all YouTubers, so it's like the YouTubers and the Twitch people are like this, because we won't get into that. Anyone can do a video. I'm joking. Live streaming's a little different. It's a Sly Flourish. Yep, Mike Shea is Sly Flourish, and a lot of people from the community go. Antiquitous, Cannibal. All my players are going, but one, Bill Mr. Kefter's going. Only one of them's not. Tom and Tim and Walter are all going too. So, yep. All right, let's do the giveaway here. See who wins. like I said, I'm all caught up except for Canadian Gamer and RoGR's $15 gift certificate to all their games because they don't know how to having trouble issuing it. So all the others are out. Everything, all giveaways from the weekend are out. Whew. All right, I'm gonna close this out. See who wins. Tomorrow night's Reaper Miniatures giveaway, by the way. I think I'm giving away a new miniature they have. I think it's a Displacer Beast. They don't call it that, but it's nice. It's a nice figure. So, the winner, Greg Justinius. Congrats.
Hey.
Congrats, man. Let's see what you don't have. So let's rate. We're going to rate into Stronghold because he's on, because he played. It was his daughter's birthday Saturday, and he played Marat Wolfmaster, the dwarf, and what you want to talk about the worst dice rolls I've ever seen? He was awful. He couldn't. I don't think he rolled higher than a 4 on he may have hit once or twice the entire adventure. So yeah, but Stronghold Tim's got a game going on. I think DM Jeremy's playing in it too. So we're gonna raid into them tonight. I was gonna raid into. Quick story there. There is. Let me see. Show more. I don't see them on. I was gonna raid into them, but they're not on. So I'm kind of friends with my postman, the guy at the post office around the corner, Desinovich. He's a musician. He's one of the tabletop guys. And I went there to drop stuff off, and another tabletop person was there, and they were supposed to be on, but I don't see him. I was like, I'll raid into his. You gotta be on when I'm done, but I don't see him on. So, no, well. All right, my voice is going. Les and Mike and Anna, thanks. What a fun one.
Hey,
thanks
for having me.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sounds
good.
Les. Gosh. Oh, gosh. How did I forget this?
Uh-oh.
I apologize, Gary. 10 seconds, everyone. I am dumb. I don't know what's wrong with me. Yeah. Next, Legends of Lore next week. Visions of Greyhawk Volume 3. Next week. Okay?
Jump the gun.
Yeah, Visions of Greyhawk Volume 3 next week. Someone has an article written by Ed Greenwood and myself in it. I guess I don't know who that is, but yes. So there is a joint article that we have hooks from the factions of the world of Greyhawk. So, all right, you'll see. We'll talk about that more next week. But Visions of Greyhawk Volume 3 coming out, and we'll discuss that next week. All right, hitting the wrong button like usual. Thanks for the support, everyone, and we'll. Oh gosh, what number is it? 12? No, 11. See ya. Raiding in the Stronghold.
Later. Have a good week, everyone.
See ya.
Yeah. Bye, everyone.
All right. Let's make sure this works. Alrighty, cool. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. See you tomorrow night, 7:30. When?
Yeah, 68, so not too bad.
Nah.
All right, guys.